Chapter 1724. Even if he offended you, you can't do this. Are you not even going to give me face? The third elder was very angry and roared furiously. He felt that Kaik was too much of a bully. Even the family master can't do this, right? Of course, I will give you face if he offends me. However, third uncle, the person that battered and offended may not give you face. Kaik snorted and said. I only greeted third uncle in advance out of respect. Otherwise, I would have taken action directly. So, the person that battered and offended is not you? Are you going to stand up for an outsider? The third elder was even angrier when he heard Kaik's words. If Batterton really offended Kaik, the third elder would have nothing to say if Kaik really wanted to punish Batterton as the family master. After all, the family master was the supreme authority in the family. Any punishment for offending the family master was not excessive. But the key problem was that according to Kaik's words, Batterton had offended others, but Kaik wanted to deal with Batterton on behalf of others. Isn't this not giving face to my third uncle? So what if it is? Kaik said coldly, well, I have to reply to Mr. Yang in a while. If he gets anxious, Batterton's life will probably be gone. Mr. Yang. The third elder was stunned. Yang Ming, Mr. Yang. Your distant relative offended Yang Ming. I don't want him to implicate our Douglas family. Kaik was very upset with his third uncle's previous questioning, so he deliberately said, Third uncle, if you insist on protecting Batterton, then I will speak to Mr. Yang. But I'm sorry, I can only say that it's your personal behavior. It has nothing to do with the family. You know, as the family master, I must consider the interests of the entire family. Kaik's meaning was obvious. If you are tired of living and want to die, then you can die by yourself and accompany Batterton. Don't drag the Douglas family into it. We have nothing to do with each other now. The third elder naturally knew Yang Ming's name. Not only did he know, but he was also very afraid of this name. Good's death and the destruction of the Lancer family were still vivid in his mind. He didn't expect Batterton to provoke Yang Ming. He must be tired of living. In that case, I can't get involved. What a fool. How can I protect someone who offended Yang Ming? He might even implicate the Douglas family, and that would be even worse. Thinking of this, the third elder quickly said, Family master, this Batterton is really outrageous. You can deal with him however you want. If I see him, I will also punish him severely. Kaik sneered in his heart. Weren't you very awesome before? You even yelled at me. Why are you so listless now? However, Kaik was pressed for time now. He was too lazy to talk nonsense with him. He just said, well, I'm going to call Batterton. The third elder hurriedly nodded in agreement. After calling the third elder, Kaik dialed the phone number of Batterton's office. Batterton was about to go crazy. Why is the phone ringing endless? Did my previous anger go to waste? It seems that these subordinates of mine are very insensible. I have to sort things out. What are they? Why are they disturbing my good fortune? No. Although he was annoyed in his heart, the phone still rang endlessly. It seemed that it would not stop until he answered. Batterton had no choice but to pick up the phone. The office's internal line and external line were placed side by side. They were very close to each other. Batterton was irritated at the moment, so he didn't look at it much. The previous two calls were made through the internal line, so he subconsciously thought that this call was an internal line call. Batterton picked up the phone directly and shouted, Are you in a hurry? Damn, didn't I tell you? I'm playing with a woman. What's the matter? Batterton couldn't be blamed for being angry. He was a little dazed after these few phone calls. Middle-aged people were most afraid of this, so Batterton became more and more annoyed each time. Batterton, how dare you be so arrogant? I see that you have ignored the family rules and discipline, said Kaik with a sneer. This Batterton was also a peripheral member of the Douglas family. Naturally, he had to abide by the Douglas family's discipline. You are. Batterton was stunned by the roar on the other side of the phone and asked uncertainly. I'm Kaik, said Kaik coldly. You are quite arrogant, aren't you? I asked you to go down, but you didn't. I asked the waiter to urge you twice, but you still didn't go down. I think you want to have a taste of the family rules. The Douglas family started out as an underworld family, so the family rules still retained some of the underworld traditions. For those who violated the family rules, the punishment was quite severe. The light punishment was a beating, and the heavy punishment was breaking their hands and feet. It was not uncommon for them to be beaten to death. So Kaik's words made Batterton sober up suddenly. The cold sweat on his forehead also dripped down. He pushed the woman in front of him aside and said in a trembling voice, "Family master. I was wrong. Please don't be angry. I just couldn't help myself with my girlfriend." Bullshit, you already have a wife and child. You still have a girlfriend. Kaik casually looked at Batterton's information before making the call. He knew Batterton's background like the back of his hand. This was why Kaik called the third elder in advance to inform him. Seeing that his lie was exposed, Batterton was a little embarrassed. "Family master, are you downstairs? I'll go down to greet you." "I'm not here. There is an important guest of the family downstairs. There are no guest rooms available. Give him our Douglas family's reserved room. Ask for the best one." Kaik instructed, "I'm telling you. If this matter is done well and that gentleman is satisfied, this matter will be over. Otherwise, you won't be able to bear the consequences even if you die." Yes. Batterton hurriedly agreed when he heard that there was still a chance for a turnaround. The reason why Kaik didn't deal with Batterton directly was that he still needed him to receive Yang Ming. He had to ask Yang Ming's opinion first. If Yang Ming was satisfied with Batterton, then forget it. If he wasn't satisfied, then Batterton could only wait for death. He didn't make a decision on his own because he was afraid that Yang Ming would blame him for being meddlesome. Batterton wiped the cold sweat on his head. He hurriedly pulled up his pants and rushed out of the office. He regretted it in his heart. It's really a femme fatale. If I had gone downstairs after receiving the first call from the receptionist downstairs, there wouldn't have been so many problems. However, there was no medicine for regret in this world. He could only try his best to make up for it. He hoped that this so-called family guest could say a few good words for him in front of Kaik. Otherwise, he would definitely be done for. A light punishment would be dismissal and being recalled to the family to be an idler. A heavy punishment would be. Batterton felt cold sweat all over when he thought about it. "Dear, don't go. Should we continue?" The female secretary didn't know what had happened. Seeing that Batterton was going out, she quickly said softly. "Get lost. If it weren't for you, would I be done for?" Batterton pushed the female secretary away and rushed downstairs. As soon as the elevator door opened, Batterton rushed to the lobby on the first floor. He saw the receptionist in the blink of an eye and quickly pulled her. "Where is the guest? Where is the family master's important guest?" "Ah." The receptionist was stunned. "What important guest? What family master? What's going on? What's wrong with the boss?" "So," she said, "boss, what are you talking about?" Batterton was too lazy to explain nonsense to her. He let go of her and began to look around in the lobby. Yang Ming saw a fat man hurriedly coming down from the elevator and asking questions in a panic. He was sure that this person was the hotel manager, Batterton, so he said to him, "You are Batterton, right?" "Ah." Batterton quickly looked up at Yang Ming, but he didn't expect him to be a foreigner. However, since Yang Ming knew him, he should be the important guest mentioned by the family master. Batterton immediately showed a flattering smile on his face. "Sir, I am Batterton. You are the important guest of the Kaik family master, right?" Chapter 1725. Important guest. Yang Ming smiled, sort of. Batterton breathed a sigh of relief. Seeing that this gentleman was still polite and easygoing, it seemed that as long as he served Yang Ming nicely, it would not be a big problem for him to escape this time. "Sir, please wait a moment. I will arrange the best room for you immediately." Batterton said flatteringly, "Sir, I'm very sorry for my previous rudeness. Please don't take offense. If you have any requests, please tell me as soon as possible. I will do my best to fulfill them." Yang Ming nodded. "Hurry up and do it." Yang Ming did not intend to do anything to Batterton. To put it bluntly, this was Kaik's family matter. What did it have to do with him? As long as the room problem was solved for him, Yang Ming was too lazy to care about whether Batterton had a problem with his work style and attitude. Batterton was not his employee, and he did not provoke him. Why should he worry about this? "Quick, find me the room card for the luxury presidential suite." Batterton personally came to the front desk and ordered the front desk attendant. "Ah, okay." The attendant also saw the boss's anxiety and hurriedly found the room card for him. These internal reserved room cards were usually locked, so to take them out, he had to open the drawer lock first. Seeing that the attendant's actions were a little slow, Batterton was a little anxious. In fact, it was not that the attendant was slow. This kind of thing had to be done step by step, right? However, Batterton was anxious, so he was anxious about everything. He directly snatched the key from the attendant's hand. "Let me do it." The attendant quickly stepped aside and gave the position to Batterton. Batterton quickly opened the drawer and took out the room card for the presidential suite. However, he hesitated and took out a room card for the adjacent presidential suite, room 2. He thought that maybe Yang Ming still had friends, so he directly took out 2 room cards for Yang Ming. If it was not enough, there were still a few more. They were all reserved internally for the Douglas family's temporary lodging. Since Kaik had already instructed, he naturally had to do his best to satisfy Yang Ming. Only when Yang Ming was satisfied would he say a few good words for him in front of Kaik. Batterton would not be punished. After figuring out this key point, Batterton worked extra hard to please Yang Ming. "Sir, the room cards are ready. This is the room card for the top-floor scenic presidential suite. It overlooks the night view of the entire city. There are 2 of them. Sir, if it is not enough, there are still more. Just tell me directly." Batterton said as he gave it to Yang. "If you need anything, tell me directly. I do my best." Yang Ming nodded. He really did have something to ask Batterton to do. He still didn't know which casino Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang were detained in. Even if he knew, Yang Ming would not rush to ask for them. After all, this was a foreign country, and he was unfamiliar with this place. It was not within his sphere of influence. Yang Ming didn't want to act recklessly. Only by knowing one's enemy could one emerge victorious. Yang Ming planned to understand the background of this casino first. After taking the business card, Yang Ming said, "Then, I'll have to trouble Mr. Batterton. I really do have something to ask you in a while." No problem, no problem." Batterton hurriedly agreed. "Sir, you see," in front of the family master, Batterton wanted Yang Ming to plead for him in front of Kaik. With Yang Ming's pleading, Batterton believed that Kaik would not hold him accountable. After all, his problem could be big or small. Yang Ming's attitude was the key to the whole matter. Batterton was not a fool since he could become the general manager of a hotel owned by the Douglas family. His mistake was at most a small mistake. He was just fooling around with women in the office. It was different from harming the hotel's interests. But the key problem was that when he was fooling around with women, he missed going downstairs to receive Yang Ming, which caused Kaik's anger. Therefore, if Yang Ming didn't intend to pursue it, Batterton believed that Kaik would not pester him. Yang Ming also understood Batterton's meaning. Yang Ming didn't need to kill him immediately. He had something to ask Batterton, so he didn't care about doing him a favor. Yang Ming nodded, and the phone in his pocket rang. Although Yang Ming's phone number couldn't be displayed on Kaik's side, Kaik dialed Yang Ming's domestic number. After transferring and roaming, Yang Ming naturally received it. Hello. Yang Ming picked up the phone. Mr. Yang, this is Kaik. How is it? Did that bastard Batterton come down? Mr. Yang, don't worry. I will definitely punish him severely. Kaik expressed his loyalty to Yang Ming. He came down. His attitude is good. Forget about the punishment. I still need him, said Yang Ming lightly. Okay, whatever you say, Mr. Yang. Your orders are the direction of my life. Although Kaik didn't know why Yang Ming kept Batterton, Yang Ming said to keep him, so he kept him. He didn't care what use he had. It was better to know less about things that he shouldn't know. Otherwise, he would die faster. And, that's it. I'll look for you again if there's anything. Yang Ming was too lazy to waste time with Kaik. He hung up the phone after saying a few words. Thank you. Batterton didn't expect Yang Ming to help him. He originally hoped that Yang Ming would be fine as long as he didn't say bad things about him in front of Kaik. However, he didn't expect Yang Ming to praise his attitude in front of Kaik. This made Batterton feel like he had dodged a bullet. Therefore, Batterton's attitude toward Yang Ming was even more respectful. But what Batterton didn't expect was that Yang Ming's casual sentence of, I still need him, would become a death exemption for Batterton in the future. Batterton had made a major mistake in the direction of hotel management in the future. He was unanimously impeached by the family members. Kaik was about to dismiss him, but he suddenly remembered Yang Ming's previous words, I still have use for him. Kaik was shocked and quickly told everyone about this. As a result, everyone unanimously decided to let Batterton continue to be the manager of the Douglas Vast Hotel's Las Vegas branch. Although they didn't know why Yang Ming wanted to keep Batterton, who dared to ask? What if Yang Ming went to Las Vegas one day to find Batterton and found that he wasn't there? Wouldn't Yang Ming vent his anger on the entire Douglas family? Who could bear this? So, Batterton was safe again. When Batterton knew the truth, he didn't know what to say. He was so lucky. He actually got a blessing in disguise because of the previous incident. Yang Ming's sentence became a death exemption for him. Batterton naturally knew what Yang Ming meant when he said, I still have use for him. This was because Yang Ming had come to him to inquire about some matters. Of course, Batterton was not stupid enough to explain things clearly. From then on, Batterton was prepared to worship Yang Ming as if he was a deity. This was his backer. Seeing that Batterton was still standing beside him, Yang Ming glanced at him and asked, Is there anything else? Sir, didn't you have something to ask me? Batterton said carefully. Oh, we'll talk about this later. You go back first. I'll call you when the time comes. Yang Ming hadn't figured out the whereabouts of Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang. He had to wait until he talked to Wang Mei in detail before he could understand. Okay, then I'll go back. Sir, you can call me anytime. Batterton didn't know Yang Ming's surname. Kaik didn't say it before, so he could only call him Sir. Wang Mei, go to your room first. You pack your luggage and stay in the presidential suite upstairs. There are 2 suites. You can stay in one, Yang Ming said to Wang Mei. Wang Mei was worried about Zhang Bin's safety, so she didn't care much about the presidential suite. Otherwise, she would have cheered excitedly in the past. After sending Yang Ming and Wang Mei to the elevator respectfully, Batterton watched the elevator door close and slowly rise. He breathed a sigh of relief. He had finally completed his mission and averted the danger. Now, he had to report to Kaik quickly and tell him about his arrangements. Although Kaik had already called and learned from Yang Ming that he had dealt with it properly, it was better for him to make the call himself. He could also show respect to the family master. Boss, doesn't that person need to register? The receptionist at the front desk reminded Batterton worriedly when she saw Yang Ming go upstairs with the room card. Register? Register for what? Do your job. Don't worry so much. Batterton glared at her. He thought, why register for the person arranged by the family master? Isn't he looking for trouble? However, the receptionist felt wronged. She just reminded the boss according to the hotel's regulations. She didn't expect to be scolded for no reason. She was really unlucky. Chapter 1726. Yang Ming helped Wang Mei move her luggage to the second presidential suite on the top floor. Wang Mei didn't have a lot of luggage. The heaviest bag of luggage was the company's promotional materials and other people's company information that Zhang Jifang brought. Wang Mei obviously wasn't interested in the presidential suite. After she and Yang Ming put down the luggage, Wang Mei said anxiously, Brother Yang, the casino called again this morning. They asked me to bring the money as soon as possible. Otherwise, they won't be polite. How much? Yang Ming frowned. How did you reply to them? Yang Ming didn't mention anything about this when he was downstairs in the hotel because he didn't want others to know about it. If there was any extreme behavior in his next action, no one would associate it with him. Of course, I followed Brother Yang's instructions. I said that I had contacted the people in China to send the money here. Wang Mei said, they didn't reveal the amount. They just asked me to go over or wait for the person who has the final say to come over and talk about it. Why? Don't they have the amount of the debt? Yang Ming was stunned. The casino asked people to send money. If they didn't mention the amount, what would they send? Zhang Bin and Uncle Zhang bet with their lives. Wang Mei smiled bitterly. Who knows what the other party was betting at that time? These need to be discussed with the other party, not the casino's people? Another group of guests. Yang Ming listened to Wang Mei's words and nodded slightly. If they bet with their lives, the bet was huge. Who knew what the other party would ask for? And I heard that it was another group of guests. However, the casino also has a commission. If we take the money, the casino will also take advantage of us. There is a lot of income. That's why they are so proactive, right? Wang Mei wasn't clear about the specific situation. She was a girl and didn't dare to go to the casino to inquire. She was afraid that she would be detained. Then, she wouldn't be able to ask for help. A commission. Yang Ming smiled faintly. He was not as naive as Wang Mei. Casinos had their own rules, especially in a place like Las Vegas, which was famous for its casinos. The industry regulations and management of casinos were definitely quite perfect, and the management agency would also carry out very strict supervision. The casinos in Macau were like this, let alone Las Vegas. Would they risk detaining the gamblers if there were no particularly large benefits? Even if they wanted to take a cut, this was a dispute between gamblers. Why would they stand up? There was a sense of evil in this. Which casino? Yang Ming asked. This casino is called South City. It is very large. Wang Mei said. The casino naturally had an English name. Wang Mei directly said the English name of the casino. South City. A southern city. Yang Ming was not familiar with the casino industry, nor did he know the background of this South City. That should be how it is translated, right? I don't know. Wang Mei said. Do you know the background of this South City? Asked Yang Ming. This. I'm not familiar with this place, so naturally, no one would inquire about it. The computer search engines here are all in English. Although I understand English, it's only some common conversations. I don't know how to do these professional things, so I can't find any useful information. I only found their promotional website and address, but there is no other information. Wang Mei said. I'll ask someone else to inquire about it. For things like background and power, it was difficult to search on the internet. Yang Ming naturally wouldn't imagine that he could find anything useful by searching directly. Picking up the intercom in the room, Yang Ming dialed the intercom number on the business card that Batterton gave him before. Batterton. I'm Yang Ming. Batterton had already called Kaik before, so he knew Yang Ming's name. At this moment, when he received a call from Yang Ming, he quickly and carefully said, Mr. Yang, what do you want me to do? Do you know about this casino in South City? Said Yang Ming, help me collect information about this casino. The more complete the better. It's best to write down the background and power. South City. Okay, I'll do it now. Batterton also had a lot of connections in Las Vegas. Naturally, he had his own channels to inquire about information. It was not difficult to listen to Yang Ming's instructions, so he immediately breathed a sigh of relief. He thought that Yang Ming had something important for him to do. He was worried that there would be danger, but now it seemed that this matter was too simple. Batterton hung up the phone and started to work without stopping. With his connections in Las Vegas, a few pages of investigation reports about the South City Casino came out quickly. Batterton took the investigation report and went upstairs. He knocked on the door of Yang Ming's room. Yang Ming was talking to Wang Mei in Presidential Suite number 2 at the moment. However, Yang Ming felt that there was something wrong with this matter, so he naturally increased his vigilance. When someone passed by in the corridor, Yang Ming was keenly aware of it. Yang Ming vaguely heard someone knocking on the door next door, but he did not get up. Instead, he glanced outside with his special ability. When he found that it was Batterton, he got up and walked over to open the door of room number 2. Mr. Batterton, I'm here, said Yang Ming. Batterton knocked on the door of room number 1. He was obviously looking for Yang Ming. Ah, Mr. Yang. Batterton quickly turned around and said with a smile, Mr. Yang, this is the information I collected. I was afraid that you would be in a hurry, so I sent it over first. You can take a look at it first. If there is anything not detailed, I will investigate. N. Yang Ming glanced at Batterton with appreciation. This guy is quite efficient. It has only been half an hour, and he has already compiled the information. It looks very detailed. You go first. I'll call you if there's anything, said Batterton. Okay, Mr. Yang, then I will go down. I won't disturb you. Batterton quickly excused himself and walked in the direction of the elevator. Yang Ming sent Batterton away, walked back to the room, and looked at the investigation report in his hand. South City Casino, one of the world's gambling and entertainment chain companies. It had invested in the construction of casinos in many countries around the world. It was unknown what kind of force was behind it for the time being. However, in Las Vegas, the boss of the Guillotine Gang, one of the 3 major underground gangs, had a close relationship with the owner of the South City Casino. Yang Ming was not surprised that casinos were related to gangs. What surprised him was that this South City was actually a world-class gambling chain company, and Batterton did not know who was behind this casino. However, this did not matter. It was not important for the time being. Yang Ming had to deal with the South City Casino in Las Vegas, not the entire South City Company. Yang Ming had no intention of making enemies with them. However, if they really provoked him, then Yang Ming could only be impolite, regardless of who was behind them. After roughly understanding the background of the South City Casino, Yang Ming did not see anything special. Next, he could only go to the South City Casino to talk. Wang Mei, do you have the contact information of the person who called you? You can call them and tell them that they have arrived and are going to their place, said Yang Ming. Ah, do you want to call them now? Wang Mei did not expect Yang Ming to go to the casino immediately. Although she also wanted to rescue Zhang Bin and the others as soon as possible, she was more afraid that Yang Ming was not prepared. Chapter 1727. Now, let's try to settle this today. Yang Ming wasn't willing to stay here all the time. There were still things at home that hadn't been settled yet. Okay. Wang Mei nodded and dialed the phone number that the casino staff left for her. Soon, someone answered the phone. Wang Mei carefully asked in English, "Hello, I'm Zhang Jifang's family. Our people have prepared the money. What should we do now?" The other side of the phone said a few words. Wang Mei nodded after listening. After a while, Wang Mei hung up the phone and said to Yang Ming, "Brother Yang, they want you to go to the South City Casino now. After you arrive, look for Manager Smith of the security department." "Okay, I got it. You wait for me here." Yang Ming noted it down and was ready to depart. "Ah, I'm not going." Wang Mei originally thought that Yang Ming would bring her along. "It's dangerous for you to go. I still have to take care of you. You just wait here for the news." Yang Ming couldn't figure out what the South City Casino was planning. Was it purely for money or something else? Wang Mei listened to Yang Ming's words and knew that Yang Ming was talking about something important. If she went, she would be a burden. Yang Ming still had to take care of her safety. After leaving the hotel, Yang Ming got into a taxi that was waiting at the entrance of the hotel. He told the driver the name of the South City Casino. Although Yang Ming saw the address of the South City Casino in the information, he wasn't familiar with Las Vegas. Even if he told Yang Ming the name of the street, Yang Ming couldn't find it. "Sir, are you going there for fun?" The taxi driver listened to the address that Yang Ming reported and smiled. The South City Casino had an unspoken rule. Every time the taxi delivered a guest, he would get a reward of $10. Therefore, the taxi driver was very happy and chatted with Yang Ming. In fact, many entertainment industries and hotels had similar rules. If the taxi delivered a guest, they could get a reward. Okay, Yang Ming didn't want to say anything more to the taxi driver, so he just responded indifferently. Know your limits. Don't go too far. Know when to stop. The taxi driver also saw that Yang Ming didn't want to talk much, so he just reminded him. He didn't think too much about it. He just thought that Yang Ming was a foreigner and wasn't very good at conversing in English, so he didn't talk much. Thank you. Yang Ming thought that this taxi driver's character was not bad. However, his warning was of little use to real gamblers. If gamblers listened to advice, there wouldn't be so many broken families in the world. The scale of the South City Casino was very large, even larger than the Douglas Hotel. Yang Ming paid the fare and got out of the car, coldly sizing up the magnificent building. Looking at the big words South City that were shining with the brilliance of neon. South City, South City, South City Casino. Yang Ming frowned. This name seems familiar. Where did I hear it? When he entered the casino, a waiter greeted Yang Ming enthusiastically. Sir, do you want to exchange chips? Yang Ming was unfamiliar. These waiters basically knew the VIP members of the casino. Looking at Yang Ming's appearance, he was like a tourist who came to play temporarily, so they asked him directly if he was here to exchange chips. I'm looking for someone. Yang Ming said, Is Mr. Smith here? Mr. Smith. The waiter was stunned, then he remembered that Mr. Smith, the manager of the security department, had already told all the receptionists at the front desk before that if someone came to him, they should take him directly to the security manager's office. So the waiter smiled and said, He is here. Please come with me. Yang Ming didn't say anything. He just nodded and followed behind the waiter. They entered the casino, passed through a long and narrow staff passage, and came to the door of an office. The waiter knocked on the door, and a deep male voice came from inside. Who is it? Mr. Smith, there is a guest looking for you, said the waiter. Okay, bring him in, said Smith. The waiter opened the door of the room and took Yang Ming into the office. Yang Ming saw a middle-aged black man with a somewhat fierce look sitting in an office chair. In the next cubicle, there were also a few big men with big waists. They had all kinds of skin colors. They seemed to be Smith's men. You can go out. Smith waved to the waiter, indicating that he could leave. Okay. The waiter nodded and turned away, not forgetting to close the door of the room. Smith. Yang Ming glanced at the black man and asked, Where is my friend? Yang Ming sat on the sofa in front of Smith's desk. However, Smith didn't speak. The big men in the cubicle stood up and surrounded the sofa where Yang Ming was sitting. Yang Ming turned a blind eye to these people and still looked at Smith coldly. Your friend is very good. Smith didn't expect that this invisible pressure had no effect on Yang Ming. He didn't know if this kid was pretending or not. How much? Give me a price. Yang Ming naturally knew that if Smith had any ulterior motives, he wouldn't hurt Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang. Give me a price. Smith shook his head. I don't have the final say on this. Let's ask Mr. Class to say it. Your friend is betting with him. Not long after Smith's voice fell, the door of the security manager's office was pushed open again. An Asian man walked in, followed by 4 black bodyguards. After the Asian man came in, Smith stood up respectfully. Mr. Class, you should talk to him. With that said, Smith gave his seat to the Asian man. Class. Class was not polite at all and sat directly in Smith's seat. Yang Ming had been paying attention to Smith's demeanor. Judging from his respect for Class, Yang Ming knew that Class's identity was not simple. Either he was a supporter of the casino, or he had a very distinguished identity that the casino didn't dare to offend. Only then would Smith be so respectful to him. Yang Ming's original guess was that the casino and a gambler had joined forces to cheat Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang. Then, the gambler would come forward to ask for money from Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang's families. Only in this case would the casino risk being investigated by the regulatory authorities to help the gambler detain people here. But now it seemed that the security manager's attitude towards Class was a little too respectful. Was my guess wrong? Was it really because Class's identity was very distinguished that the casino helped him? Are you a friend of Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang? To Yang Ming's surprise, Class actually spoke fluent Chinese. He didn't use English in front of Yang Ming. Yes. Since he used Chinese, Yang Ming naturally used Chinese. How are my friends? What do you want? Your friends are very good, but are you sure you want to take responsibility for them? Class's tone was very flat. How much do you want? Just say it. Yang Ming frowned. Money? Class seemed to have heard a funny thing. What do I want money for? Ask Smith if I'm short of money, Class's strange attitude made Yang Ming even more confused. Not short of money. What does that mean? Then what do you want to do? Yang Ming didn't get angry but waited for class to continue. The one thing I don't lack the most is money. Class shook his head as if he was talking to himself. Money is just a number to me. It doesn't give me any pleasure or excitement. I like excitement, I like adventure, and I pursue that momentary feeling of joy. So, I like to gamble with my life. If it weren't for the fact that this matter was strange from beginning to end and made Yang Ming vigilant, Yang Ming would definitely think that class was crazy. However, Yang Ming didn't feel that way now. Yang Ming didn't think that class was crazy, but class's words made Yang Ming puzzled. If you want to take responsibility for this matter, then you have to gamble with me. Class pointed at Yang Ming with the thick cigar in his hand and said, "Bet with you?" Yang Ming asked in return. "That's right. Gamble with your life. One life for one life." Class laughed. "If you win, I'll give you a life. If you win again, I'll give you a life again." When Class said this, Yang Ming understood what Class meant. This guy meant that if he won against him once, he would give either Zhang Bin or Zhang Jifang's life back to him. "What if I lose?" Yang Ming asked in return. "If you lose, your life will naturally be mine." Class shrugged. "Isn't it fun?" Chapter 1728. Fun. Yang Ming raised his eyelids faintly. "You think this is fun?" "Yeah, I already said that I want to pursue excitement. Normal games can no longer give me any feelings. Only when I control the life and death of others can I be excited." Class said solemnly, "Of course, you can choose not to gamble. I won't force others to do anything. You can leave now." "If I leave, what about my friends?" Yang Ming curled his lips. What Class said was simply nonsense. He knew that since he was here, it was impossible for him to leave alone. I'm sorry. They lost their lives. I will be responsible for the harvest." Class said as if he was talking about a very ordinary thing, "unless someone gambles with me for them." As he spoke, Yang Ming began to think of countermeasures in his heart. Of course, Yang Ming was confident that he could kill everyone in this room directly. He could also kill these people while leaving Class alive. Then, he could find Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang through him. Since Class could talk to him confidently here, Yang Ming also believed that he was not a fool. Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang had probably been transferred to other places and would not be in the casino. Of course, although Yang Ming was confident that he could subdue Class and make him tell the truth, Yang Ming was afraid that Class was also a pawn who was pushed to the front. If he controlled Class might not know anything, or the person behind him might not care about him at all. This would be self-defeating. The reason why Yang Ming was so cautious was that he felt that this matter was very strange from the beginning. It was not a normal kind of strangeness. Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang came to the casino to play, and they encountered a madman who gambled with his life. If he was really as rich as Class said, and Smith respected him so much, he must be a VIP in this casino. How could he have an intersection with Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang? This kind of big gambler gambled in the VIP room upstairs. Tourists like Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang could only play in the lobby on the first floor at most. He didn't get along well with Class, so it was obvious that something was wrong. After figuring out the crux of the matter and the gains and losses, Yang Ming was not ready to launch an attack directly. He was ready to see what other tricks Class could play later. "Oh, gambling with your life. That's easy. I'm best at gambling with my life." Yang Ming's words were so shocking that Class was shocked. He originally thought that Yang Ming would back down, and even if he agreed, he would do so reluctantly. He was very afraid, but he didn't expect Yang Ming to say that gambling with his life was good, and that he was best at gambling with his life. Could it be that this guy was also a lunatic? Class hesitated for a moment, but he thought to himself, this kid is probably just putting on an act. Why should I be afraid of him? Thus, he said, that's very good. Since that's the case, and you don't have any objections, we'll meet here tomorrow at 9:00 sharp. Of course, you can choose not to come. 9:00 tomorrow, right? Sure. Yang Ming immediately agreed. Gambling. Yang Ming had never been afraid of anyone. If it was something else, Yang Ming would not be afraid at all. After Yang Ming finished speaking, he ignored class, stood up, and prepared to go out. Class didn't say anything, but Smith's expression was a little ugly. He had called his men over and surrounded Yang Ming to show him who was the boss. He was very unhappy with Yang Ming's calm expression. When it came to him, who wasn't cautious? Ahem. Smith coughed twice, hinting to his men to teach Yang Ming a lesson. Kid, are you leaving just like that? A big black man blocked in front of Yang Ming. What else? Yang Ming asked faintly. He naturally heard Smith's cough and knew that this was Smith's hint. The matter between you and Mr. Class has been settled, but the commission your friend owes the casino has not been settled yet. Smith said very unhappily. He felt very humiliated by Yang Ming's attitude. Commission. Yang Ming looked back at Smith coldly. Isn't the casino's commission taken from the winner? You can ask Class for it. After that, Yang Ming walked forward. The big black man didn't get Smith's permission, so naturally, he couldn't let Yang Ming go. He blocked in front of Yang Ming like an iron tower. Get lost. Yang Ming frowned, grabbed the big black man's collar, and gently threw him to the side. The big black man's huge body was thrown out like a cannonball. He landed directly on the wall 3 meters away, making a loud noise. The big black man immediately collapsed to the ground. He fainted directly because his head hit the wall. After doing this, Yang Ming didn't look at Smith's reaction. He opened the door and went out directly. Smith's eyes widened. He didn't expect Yang Ming to be so awesome. It seemed like a casual push, but he could throw a 200-kilogram big man out. Is he still a human? In fact, the black man's body was big and strong. Yang Ming looked smaller than him. In the end, Yang Ming picked him up with one hand. What kind of strength is this? Damn it. Smith wanted to show off his strength to Yang Ming, but he didn't expect to be shown off his strength by Yang Ming. Smith was a little unwilling. I have to find someone to teach this kid a lesson. With that said, Smith wanted to instruct his men, but he was interrupted by Class on the side. Smith, don't mess around. If you mess up our boss's important matter, not to mention you, even your casino's boss won't be able to bear the consequences. Yes. Mr. Class, I'm just saying it casually. Don't be angry. Smith was shocked and suddenly woke up. He was cooperating with Mr. Class, so he couldn't be impulsive. If he messed up the important matter, then he would be finished. Smith also faintly knew that Class's background was not simple. Even the big boss of his own casino had to be wary of him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have taken the risk of being investigated by the management to help Class detain the hostages. Although the hostages had been transferred to other places, the casino still had an unshirkable responsibility. But the boss could actually take the risk of damaging the casino's reputation and still help the person behind Class. This explained the problem. Don't worry. I won't let him leave here alive tomorrow, Class said with a sneer. That's right. Mr. Class's gambling skills are invincible. Even our casino's consultants are no match for him. Smith said flatteringly. After Yang Ming left the room, although he kept walking in the direction of the casino's entrance, he didn't stay idle. Since he had already noticed that something was wrong with this matter, Yang Ming directly used his special ability to lock onto the situation in the security manager's office. After seeing the conversation between Smith and Class, Yang Ming's heart trembled. He secretly felt lucky that he didn't act rashly after careful analysis. There really is someone behind Class. If I had taken him down today, I wouldn't have been able to get anything out of him. Instead, I would have harmed Zhang Bin. But, what is the purpose of these people doing this? Is it just to seek excitement? Yang Ming didn't believe his words at all. On the surface, this matter seemed to be provoked by Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang. These people seemed to be targeting the two of them. However, Yang Ming felt that this matter was not so simple. If his intuition was not wrong, this class seemed to be targeting him, especially his last sentence, "Don't worry. I won't let him leave here alive tomorrow." Yang Ming was stunned for a moment before he realized it. Chapter 1729. This further confirmed Yang Ming's guess. If they were not targeting him, why did they want to kill him? Even Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang were imprisoned and waited for him to come. Wouldn't they wait for others to come and save him? Therefore, Yang Ming had reason to suspect that their goal was him. Not Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang. If they were targeting him, they should have already known about his relationship with Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang. They used the two of them as bait to lure him here. The sentence that Class asked him when he first entered the door also revealed some doubts. He asked, "Are you a friend of Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang?" Logically speaking, Zhang Bin was Zhang Bin's father. Even if someone came to save them, the person who asked the question would naturally think that it was a helper sent by his father, not a child like Zhang Bin. After he came, he did not say whether he was sent by Zhang Jifang or Zhang Bin. Class directly put Zhang Bin in front and put Zhang Jifang behind. This could be determined that Class knew that he was a friend of Zhang Bin's. Although there was also the possibility of a slip of the tongue, this doubt still made Yang Ming vigilant, which made him even more suspicious later on. Perhaps they were instructed by Smith, but the security guards did not stop Yang Ming along the way. Yang Ming also left the South City Casino smoothly. It seemed that Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang were no longer in the casino. There was no need for him to stay. Originally, Yang Ming planned to use his special ability to conduct a 360-degree search in the casino to see if he could find the place where they were imprisoned. But now, this idea was unnecessary. Yang Ming got into a taxi waiting for a guest outside the casino. After getting in the car, Yang Ming unexpectedly found that it was actually the driver who sent him here before. After he arrived here, he stopped at the door and continued to wait for the guest. He did not expect Yang Ming to come out so quickly. When the driver saw Yang Ming, he was also stunned. "Young man, you lost so quickly." He was thinking that Yang Ming was too fast, wasn't he? No matter what kind of game he played, he wouldn't lose all his money so quickly, right? "Oh, I'm just looking for someone. I'm not going to gamble." Yang Ming explained to prevent him from asking more questions. "I see." After listening to Yang Ming's explanation, the driver didn't continue to ask. Instead, he asked, "Where are we going now?" "Let's go back to where we came from, the Douglas Hotel," Yang Ming said. Yang Ming was not in the mood to wander around Las Vegas. Other than the casinos, there was really nothing famous here. As for the casino, Yang Ming had no interest in it. Would you still be in the mood to gamble when you know that you will win every time? The gambler's heart was the thrill of taking risks. Without any happy feeling of taking risks, gambling would lose the fun of gambling. There are some billionaires, they already have a lot of money, and they don't fantasize about getting rich overnight. Gambling is only the pursuit of the thrill of winning and losing. And when this kind of thrill turned into knowing that you would win, would you still gamble? Of course not. Yang Ming was in this situation. He was not short of money, and he knew that he would win every time he gambled. Why would he gamble? After returning to the Douglas Hotel, Yang Ming briefly told Wang Mei about the other party's request. He was going to gamble with class tomorrow, but he did not mention the specific conditions. He did not want Wang Mei to worry after knowing. After letting Wang Mei rest in the room and telling her that Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang were fine for the time being, Yang Ming also returned to the room. He did not want to be idle. He had to find a way to inquire about the background of the South City Casino and the identity of this class. The best way to know the background of the South City Casino was to consult industry insiders. Although Batterton had a lot of connections and background in Las Vegas, he could only inquire about the background of the South City Casino in Las Vegas at best. If he wanted to know some of the relationships and forces behind the South City Casino, Batterton was obviously powerless. After thinking about it, Yang Ming dialed Huang Leilei's phone. Huang Leilei's family was a rich businessman in Singapore. They were also committed to the business of global gambling and entertainment. They had opened casinos in many places around the world. Although they might not be as big as the South City Casino, it should be easier to inquire about the background of the South City Casino through her than Batterton. After all, they were competitors in the same industry. Everyone knew in their hearts. However, Huang Leilei's phone was turned off. Yang Ming thought that it was probably because Huang Leilei was on a flight now and could not turn on her phone. But it didn't matter. Except for Huang Leilei, Yang Ming was now very familiar with the rest of the Huang family. After all, in the battle with the Li family in Singapore, Yang Ming had established his godlike status in the Huang family's mind. Hello. Huang Rongjin picked up the phone with some doubts. The phone number was transferred through a foreign IP. Second brother, this is Yang Ming. Because of Huang Leilei, Yang Ming's address for Huang Rongjin changed from brother Huang to second brother. Yang Ming. It's you. Hee, you haven't called me for a long time. I miss you. Huang Rongjin heard Yang Ming's voice and suddenly became enthusiastic. I've been a little busy recently, so I didn't have time. Yang Ming explained apologetically. For the matter of him going to Yunnan, Yang Ming couldn't tell Huang Rongjin. Although the two had a good relationship, Yang Ming wouldn't reveal this kind of thing early. Right, Yang Ming, what are you looking for me for? Huang Rongjin thought that Yang Ming wouldn't call to greet him for no reason. There must be something, so he asked. This is the case. Can you help me inquire about the South City Casino in Las Vegas? What is its background? Said Yang Ming. South City Casino in Las Vegas. Yang Ming, you went to Las Vegas? Huang Rongjin asked curiously. This casino also exists in Macau. Did they trouble you? Also in Macau? Yang Ming was stunned. Trouble me? What do you mean? Yang Ming, don't you remember? When you were in Macau, you killed the consultant of the Nanjing casino, Yu Dai, and forced them to move their casino out of the scope of our Huang family casino. They were closed for a period of time. Basically, their status in Macau's gambling industry was reduced to third rate in one fell swoop. Huang Rongjin explained. South City Casino. After Yang Ming listened to Huang Rongjin's words, he was somewhat inexplicable at first, then he said to himself, South City, South City. South City. Damn, it can't be. It's him. Yeah, the South City Casino in Macau is also called South City in English. It is run by a company. Huang Rongjin said, that's why I said, is it because of the last incident in Macau that they are troubling you? This shouldn't be, right? Although Yang Ming also had some doubts, he quickly denied this. First, although he had offended the South City Casino when he was in Macau, he was representing the Huang family casino at that time. At best, he was only a representative of the Huang family, so even if the people of the South City Casino had resentment, they should vent their anger on the Huang family instead of him. Secondly, the second point was that although Zhang Bin was also in Macau at that time, he went there later. Even if the South City Casino wanted to target him, it was impossible to lure him out because he caught Zhang Bin first. Not to mention the trouble, Yang Ming did not believe that the senior management of the South City Casino would distribute the images of all the people around him to the various branch casinos for this matter. It was good enough to distribute his image. The third point was the most critical point. Even if he offended the South City Casino, they did not need to gamble with his life. Although he had offended the South City Casino in Macau, it was only in the capacity of a contestant. No matter how much they hated him, there was no need for them to kill him. The casino was all about profit. Instead of using this method to kill him, it was better to find an assassin to kill him, and not leave any evidence behind. Now, the Huang family was not a good family to provoke. The Li family in Singapore had been merged. This was a well-known thing. He believed that it was impossible for them not to find out about his relationship with Huang Lele. If they killed him blatantly, wouldn't they be waiting to make a deeper hatred with the Huang family? If they really hated him, they would kill him quietly so that no one would suspect them. Chapter 1730. I don't think the possibility is high. There are rules between casinos. If you want to challenge, you can only challenge the casino in the name of the casino. You won't mess around. That would violate the rules and be ostracized by others in the industry. Huang Rongjin said, as for the background of the South City Casino, I don't know, but I can help you ask my brother and father when I go back. They should know. Well, when you figure it out, call me back. I still have the same number in China, said Yang Ming. Okay, I'll go home to see my father now, said Huang Rongjin. There's another person. Help me investigate him too. Yang Ming remembered classes matter. Yang Ming, tell me, said Huang Rongjin. This person is called Class. His gambling skills should be quite good. Help me investigate. He is an Asian man. Judging from his age, he should be no more than 40 years old, about 35 years old. He is about 1.75 meters tall and speaks Chinese fluently. Yang Ming described Class's appearance and characteristics. Okay, I'll write it down. I'll give you the results later. Huang Rongjin wrote down what Yang Ming said with a piece of paper. Although the news that Huang Rongjin brought to him was not very important, it still surprised him a little. This South City Casino was actually Macau's South City Casino. Both of them belonged to the same company. No wonder I felt that the name South City was a bit familiar. It turned out that this was the reason. I haven't gone to find them for trouble yet, but they found trouble with me first. From Yang Ming's judgment, the South City Casino played the role of an accomplice in this matter. The main characters were still Class and the people behind Class. While waiting for Huang Rongjin to call back, Yang Ming first turned on the TV in the room and watched the TV program casually. It didn't take long for the phone to ring. Hello? Hello? Yang Ming thought it was Huang Rongjin. It seemed that he was very efficient. Yang Ming, this is Lele. You called me. Huang Lele's voice came over the phone. Yang Ming was stunned. He immediately remembered that he had just called Huang Lele. Her phone had a service of text message notification when he couldn't connect. He didn't expect that the phone number could not be displayed when the call was made, but it could be displayed in the text message. However, Yang Ming did not understand the specific operation strategy of the telecommunications company. It seemed that a mobile phone without roaming could directly send international text messages, so it was not surprising that Huang Lele could directly receive his number. I called before and wanted to inquire about something from you. Seeing that your phone was turned off, I called second brother. He said that he would contact me after checking. Yang Ming said, were you on the plane just now? Well, on the plane just now, Yang Ming, I'm in Donghai. I can stay overnight. Although Huang Rongjin said before that the Nanqing family's family master, Goyadod, had the support of Alice was just a rumor, Yang Ming could now be sure that this was not a rumor. Since this matter was related to Alice, then everything at this moment was close to being clear. If he didn't guess wrong, this matter was also caused by the behind-the-scenes boss. Only he knew about his relationship with Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang. Only he knew that he could stand up for Zhang Bin. Only he could make Nanqing Casino cooperate with this matter through his relationship with Alice. Although everything before seemed to be a coincidence, now Yang Ming was convinced that it was not a coincidence. Since they had already thrown out the words, asking him to go to the South City Casino at 9:00 tomorrow to gamble with his life, then they must be fully prepared. They were not afraid that he would go back on his word after losing. Then, he should be prepared in advance, instead of being caught like a turtle in a jar when he arrived at the place. Although Yang Ming was confident in his skills, he was in other people's territory. They could use a sea of people tactic and take out some hot weapons. He was not an invulnerable Iron Man like Jetson. He would still be at a disadvantage. He looked at the time. If he mobilized his troops now, there should still be time. In short, the Nanqing family's background is very powerful. If it is not necessary, it is better not to provoke them easily. Huang Rongjin said, as for the class person you mentioned, I found a person who is the closest to him. This person is a rich man in Las Vegas. He made his fortune by gambling in his early years. Later, he gambled more and more and became a part-time consultant for many casinos. His annual salary is more than 10 digits. Oh. Yang Ming listened to Huang Rongjin's explanation and had doubts about class. Why would a casino consultant with an annual salary of 10 digits play with Zhang Bin? Does he have nothing to do? Then, he arranged for people to act according to Yang Ming's instructions. Yang Ming had already explained it before, and Golden Bull also understood what Yang Ming meant. This late night was just right for him to ambush. Yang Ming naturally wouldn't sleep so soundly here. When he saw the text message from Golden Bull, Yang Ming directly returned a call to Golden Bull. Golden Bull, have you arrived? Yes, leader. We are rushing to the South City Casino. Some of our brothers are lying in ambush outside the casino, and the other brothers are pretending to be gamblers and sneaking into the casino. We will be at Brother Yang's disposal at any time, said Golden Bull. And I am relieved that you arranged it this way. Yang Ming was very satisfied with Golden Bull's arrangement. It seemed that Golden Bull was also growing up. He had matured a lot unknowingly, and his vision had broadened a lot. Compared with the small assassins of the small organization in Songjiang, there was a qualitative change. The one in charge of the unified action outside the casino is Captain Wang Peng. They are all professional mercenaries. The ones inside the casino are all my men. All of them are professional assassins. Golden Bull said, Brother Yang, you can also contact Wang Ping directly. Not bad. Yang Ming didn't expect Golden Bull to have arranged it so carefully. Wang Peng's men were professional mercenaries. These people were well trained and were good at unified action to quickly annihilate the enemy. Golden Bull's men were good at assassination. They hid in various corners of the casino and quickly attacked suspicious people. Thank you for the praise, leader. Golden Bull was a little embarrassed by Yang Ming's praise, so he laughed twice. I also have Wang Peng's contact information. You all stay alert according to my arrangement. I will contact you at any time, said Yang Ming. Yes, leader, said Golden Bowl. After hanging up the phone, Yang Ming was very pleased. His men had gradually grown up. He would gradually let go and let them do things boldly. After getting up, he cleaned up and took a shower. Yang Ming looked at his watch. It was already past 5:00 in the morning. Yang Ming wasn't worried at all about today's bet if the other party didn't cheat. Yang Ming didn't have the nervousness and excitement of others before the game. What was there to be excited about knowing that he would win? The hotel's restaurant opened at 6:00. Yang Ming lay in bed and watched TV for a while. When he saw that it was almost time, he came out of the room and went downstairs for breakfast. Unexpectedly, he saw Batterton standing not far from his room, standing there respectfully. When he saw Yang Ming coming out of the room, he quickly greeted, "Mr. Yang, good morning." Oh. Yang Ming was stunned. He didn't expect Batterton to be waiting not far from the door of the room. Judging from his appearance, he had been here for a while. The reason why he stood not far away was to avoid eavesdropping on the conversation in the room. It seemed that Batterton had undergone professional training. He probably did the same for other members of the Douglas family. "Mr. Yang, the restaurant has prepared breakfast for you alone. Would you like it to be sent to your room, or would you like to go to the restaurant's VIP room?" asked Batterton carefully. "Oh, I'll eat it myself." Yang Ming nodded. "Wait for me to see if my friend has woken up." "Okay, Mr. Yang." Batterton didn't know the relationship between Yang Ming and Wang Mei, but judging from their behavior, they were definitely not lovers. They should be good friends. Yang Ming knocked on the door of the second room next door. Soon, Wang Mei's voice came from inside. "Who is it?" "It's me, Yang Ming." Yang Ming said, "Are you up? Do you want to go to the restaurant for breakfast?" With a click, the door opened. Wang Mei was already dressed. Her eyes were a little red. It seemed that she didn't sleep well last night. She couldn't sleep well until Zhang Bin returned safely, so she got up early. "And let's go." Wang Mei nodded, "But I don't have much of an appetite." Hee, eat a little. "Don't worry. I guarantee that Zhang Bin and Uncle Zhang will come back safely today." Yang Ming laughed. Wang Mei still trusted Yang Ming's ability. Yang Ming had shown a strange power in Macau. Wasn't the man who pestered her easily dealt with by Yang Ming? Wang Mei was very surprised that Batterton was eagerly leading the way in front. Knowing Batterton's identity, even if Yang Ming knew their boss, there was no need to behave like this so early in the morning. Wang Mei increasingly felt that Yang Ming was mysterious and powerful. It seemed that there was no one he didn't know and couldn't handle. Batterton personally brought Yang Ming and Wang Mei to the hotel's VIP restaurant. This was a separate private room with a bathroom, a TV, and some morning newspapers and magazines. The bright floor-to-ceiling windows allowed them to see the early morning scenery outside. "Mr. Yang, take a look. This is the breakfast menu prepared for you. Is there anything you don't eat? Or what do you want to eat? We will prepare it for you immediately." Batterton handed an exquisite menu to Yang Ming and also gave one to Wang Mei. "Miss Wang, please." Yang Ming glanced at the dishes on the menu. Yang Ming had very few things that he didn't eat. Yang Ming didn't particularly like Western food, so he said, "There are too many. Give me half." Wang Mei was the same. Chinese people ate Western food, but they didn't say what they liked to eat. So, she nodded, "I don't mind. Anything is fine. It's not a lot." "Mr. Yang, you can choose to eat," Batterton said quickly. "Oh, that's fine. Give me a smaller portion." Yang Ming waved his hand, indicating that Batterton could go and prepare. Okay, Mr. Yang. Batterton trotted out of the private room. Chapter 1732. Brother Yang, this boss is too attentive. Wang Mei said carefully. She didn't know if Yang Ming would think that she was talking too much. He is afraid of losing his job, so he is naturally attentive. For Wang Mei, even if Yang Ming didn't have a good impression of her, he felt that she was a very superficial woman. However, since Zhang Bin liked her, she was also his sister-in-law, so Yang Ming could only accept her. For her questions, he tried to answer as much as possible so that she wouldn't be too embarrassed and Zhang Bin wouldn't be able to do anything. Brother Yang, you are amazing. Wang Mei exclaimed. Yang Ming frowned. What does Wang Mei mean? However, seeing that Wang Mei's eyes were clear and there was no other meaning in them, Yang Ming was also relieved. He didn't want Wang Mei to be half-hearted after following Zhang Bin. My Zhang Bin is following Brother Yang. It is really his blessing, Wang Mei continued. Zhang Bin is a good person. Although he has a lot of small problems, he is generally okay, Yang Ming said. As long as I am alive, I will always support him. Brother Yang is joking. Wang Mei was stunned. What do you mean by alive? We are about the same age. If we are going to die, we will die together, he. Yang Ming didn't say much. Yang Ming was just lamenting. He couldn't explain anything to Wang Mei about his trip to Yunnan. Soon, Batterton personally served the dishes in Yang Ming's private room. Obviously, the raw materials were prepared in advance. They only needed to be cooked. Although Yang Ming instructed Batterton to prepare a smaller portion of breakfast, it seemed that he didn't do so. The portion was still not small, or it was even bigger in the past. Mr. Yang, Miss Wang, please enjoy your breakfast. I won't disturb you. Call me if you need anything. I will be at the door. Batterton put the food in the dining car on the table one by one, then bowed and left. Just eat whatever you want. Yang Ming pointed to the things on the table and said to Wang Mei, I will go to the South City Casino in a while. Just wait for me in the hotel. Don't go out and run around. Wang Mei nodded. She would naturally do whatever Yang Ming said. Although she was worried about Zhang Bin's situation, Yang Ming could go by himself. Not long after breakfast, Wang Mei's cell phone rang in her pocket. Wang Mei said, it's a temporary call from the Jewelry Festival Working Group. Maybe it's from the casino. Previously, the people from the South City Casino had always been in contact with Wang Mei through this phone. Take it. If they are from the casino, give it to me. Yang Ming nodded to Wang Mei. Hello. Wang Mei picked up the phone. This is Smith. Is the gentleman who came to the casino yesterday there? Smith's voice came from the other side of the phone. The restaurant's private room was very quiet, and Yang Ming heard it clearly. Oh, wait a minute. Wang Mei said and handed the phone to Yang Ming. Hello, Smith. Yang Ming took the phone. Yes, I have nothing to do. I just want to remind you not to forget to come to the casino at 9 o'clock. If you don't come, just let me know, said Smith. Don't worry. I'll be there on time. But I'll say this first. Bring my friends along when the time comes. I'll only bet with class when I see my friends, said Yang Ming. No problem. You can see them when you come, said Smith. Yang Ming's request was reasonable. If he couldn't even see them, why would Yang Ming bet with them? You didn't even show them the stakes when you were gambling. What was the point of gambling? Well, see you later, said Yang Ming faintly. In fact, when Yang Ming returned to the hotel yesterday, he had already noticed that someone was following him. Yang Ming didn't care at all, and he wasn't afraid that they would follow him. Since they could contact him through Wang Mei, they must know that he was staying at the Douglas Vast Hotel. This was no secret, so they could follow him if they wanted to. Yang Ming didn't ask the taxi driver to change his route. When he arrived at the Douglas Vast Hotel, Yang Ming went straight back. Presumably, they also wanted to see if he would contact any reinforcements or meet up with someone after he left. However, they saw that Yang Ming went straight back to the hotel. The people who stayed at the door didn't see Yang Ming come out to contact anyone, so they were relieved. They felt that Yang Ming really came to participate in the competition today, and not to play any tricks. It was precisely because of this that Smith and class brought Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang to the casino so quickly. Otherwise, they were afraid that Yang Ming would find strong backup and take these two people away from the casino by force. After eating breakfast, Yang Ming looked at the time. It was past 7:00. There was only 1 hour left before the agreed time of 9 o'clock. So, after Yang Ming asked Wang Mei to go back, he went out of the hotel, stopped a taxi, and rushed to the South City Casino. After arriving at the South City Casino, Yang Ming saw a fashionable young man wearing sunglasses drinking juice in a small square not far from the casino. He was whispering sweet nothings to a similarly fashionable girl next to him. Seeing Yang Ming get out of the taxi, the fashionable man shook the fruit juice box in his hand slightly. Yang Ming straightened his hair with his hand blankly, indicating that he saw him. However, Yang Ming's action was very common. Many people who got out of the taxi would habitually straighten their hair. The young fashionable man was naturally Wang Peng, and the person next to him might be his helper. Yang Ming didn't know him. He might be a new recruit when he was in Africa. Yang Ming had previously suggested that they recruit some female members so that he could arrange for them to protect Chen Mengyan and others. However, after Victoria appeared, Yang Ming used Victoria first. As for the female members, Yang Ming did not ask again. Yang Ming quickly walked into the South City Casino. Smith's people at the door saw Yang Ming and came over. "Sir, Mr. Smith is already waiting in the office." Yang Ming nodded blankly, followed the man through yesterday's corridor, and then came to Smith's security manager's office. Dang dang dang. Smith's men knocked on the door, and Smith's voice came from inside, "Please come in." After opening the door, the man said respectfully, "Mr. Smith, your guests have arrived." "Okay, you can go ahead." Smith waved to his men, indicating that they could leave. Yang Ming walked into the office and saw Smith. Class from yesterday was also there. "Where are my friends?" Yang Ming did not greet them, but directly asked about the whereabouts of Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang. Smith and class did not care. Smith said, "Your friends are upstairs. You will see them when you go up later." "Go up? Aren't we gambling here?" Yang Ming asked faintly. "Of course, we are going to the top VIP room upstairs. It's so small here. How can we gamble?" Smith laughed. "Upstairs. Top-level VIP room." Yang Ming frowned. "There are only a few of us." "Yes." Smith nodded. "Sorry, I can't accept it." Yang Ming shook his head. "There are no other guests around the top VIP room upstairs. They are all your people. I have reason to suspect that your motives are impure. I can't accept this request." Smith was slightly stunned, but Yang Ming was indeed telling the truth. This casino was his territory, and Yang Ming was allowed to go to the VIP room upstairs alone. Yang Ming's worries were normal. If it were Smith, he would think the same. However, Smith was not a decisive person. He could only look at class for help. Chapter 1733. Although we don't have any other intentions, we just want to find a quiet and comfortable place. Class laughed. However, your worries are not unreasonable. In that case, I think we should do it here. It's good here, Yang Ming said lightly. Of course, this place is not suitable for gambling. Why don't we go to the private room in the lobby on the first floor? Speaking of this, Class was afraid that Yang Ming would misunderstand, so he added, there are guests outside. You shouldn't be worried about this, right? Although he said this, Class sneered in his heart. Do you think that we won't dare to do anything to you in a crowded place on the first floor? The private rooms in this casino were super soundproof. What was done inside and what was made could not be heard from the outside. Yang Ming hesitated, then nodded. Okay, then let's do it in the private room on the first floor. Yang Ming naturally couldn't agree too quickly. If he agreed too quickly, Smith and Class would notice the problem. The Golden Bulls people were all in the casino. As ordinary tourists, it was impossible for them to get close to the VIP room upstairs. Therefore, the private room near the lobby on the first floor was the best choice. The reason why Yang Ming said that they would compete in the security manager's office was to confuse the public. He knew that Class would definitely not agree to gamble here. There was not even a special gambling table here, and the environment was not suitable for gambling. They had previously confirmed that Yang Ming had returned directly to the hotel yesterday, and he had not left the hotel after that. He had not contacted anyone, so they concluded that Yang Ming would not play any tricks. In addition, they had bad intentions towards Yang Ming, so they were a little guilty. Yang Ming said what was in their hearts, so they agreed with Yang Ming's point of view without thinking. They were also afraid that if they insisted, Yang Ming would have more ideas. However, Yang Ming was sure of one thing. That was, Class had a guilty conscience. If Class had argued or insisted, then Yang Ming would not have thought much of it. Class didn't know that he had shot himself in the foot. He had already made Yang Ming vigilant. His wishful thinking was good, but unfortunately, Yang Ming was fully prepared. Smith listened to Class's decision, then picked up the phone and dialed a number. He gave a few instructions to the other side. The general idea was to change the venue of the game to room number 3 in the lobby on the first floor. Then, he asked someone to bring Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang to room number 3. After ending the call, Smith smiled at Yang Ming. Is this okay? Actually, although your concern is not wrong, our casino's reputation is very good. Yang Ming smiled faintly, his expression cold. Yang Ming sneered in his heart. If his reputation was good, he wouldn't have helped Class detain them. Is this still called a good reputation? Who would believe him when he spouted such nonsense? Let's go. Let's go. Sir, how should I address you? Class looked at Yang Ming in a friendly manner. Yang Ming. Yang Ming sneered in his heart. Class seemed to have mentioned my name to Smith after I left yesterday. He actually pretended to ask again today. Mr. Yang, do you think it's okay to go over and prepare now? Asked Class. Let's go. Yang Ming stood up without saying anything. Smith quickly walked to the front to lead the way. Yang Ming and Class followed behind him. Behind Yang Ming were several of Class's bodyguards and Smith's followers. Through the narrow corridor, Yang Ming followed Smith to the lobby of the casino on the first floor. Although it was early in the morning, the casino was still very lively. The casino was a 24-hour place, so many gamblers came here in the evening. Some were red-eyed from gambling, and some wanted to win more after winning. But overall, there were more losses than wins in the casino. Otherwise, how could one make money? There were only a few people who could win money. Moreover, few of those who won money could grasp the opportunity to directly exchange for chips and leave the casino. They all continued to gamble. The more they won, the more they wanted to continue winning. In the end, all of them lost everything. This was the heart of many gamblers. The sense of sudden wealth brought about by winning and losing in gambling was irresistible. In the lobby on the first floor, apart from some tourists, there were some out-and-out gamblers. As for the truly rich people, they all went to the VIP area or VIP lounge upstairs. These people were not gamblers, and they did not expect to become rich overnight. They only pursued the feeling of adventure and excitement. They did not care much about losing money. Big, 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 small, small, small. "Aw, I won, aw, it's over." The casino was filled with a cacophony of noises in various languages. It was like a big market. However, Smith and Klaas were obviously accustomed to it. The men behind them were also accustomed to it. They were all people who had been in the casino for a long time and had automatically filtered out this kind of sound. Yang Ming just frowned and showed a little disgust. In fact, Yang Ming did this deliberately. His purpose was just to cover up that he saw Golden Bowl and secretly greeted Golden Bowl through his expression. Seeing Yang Ming showing a disgusted expression, Klaas smiled and said nothing. It seemed that Yang Ming did not often go to the casino. So even if Yang Ming was a master, the master who practiced at home was just building a cart behind closed doors. Without practice, theory alone would not work. Klaas also knew from the Nanching family that Yang Ming was a very good gambler, but Klaas did not take it seriously. If it were not for Yang Ming's strength, the boss behind him would not have let him do it personally. In fact, he had been with the boss for 6 years and was the boss's proudest disciple. His skills were comparable to the boss's, so he felt that gambling with Yang Ming was a simple matter. "It's here." Smith pointed to a VIP lounge not far in front of him with the words 1F VIP 3, which meant the third VIP box on the first floor. In fact, the box in the lobby on the first floor was not a VIP lounge at all. It was very different from the one upstairs. The decoration inside was also very ordinary. Yang Ming nodded and waited for Smith to open the door. Then, he walked into the box with Klaas. In fact, Yang Ming seemed calm and indifferent. In fact, he had already used his special ability to detect the situation in the third box. He also saw that Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang were safe and sound in the box. There was no special structure in the box, so it was impossible to hide people inside. That was why Yang Ming could enter the box so easily. "Bro." Zhang Bin was sitting next to Zhang Jifang with a sad face. These 2 days, he was scared to death. He finally knew what gambling meant. He almost lost his life. He really regretted it. If he had known earlier, he wouldn't have gambled. However, there was no medicine for regret in the world. It was useless even if he regretted it. Zhang Jifang also had the same thoughts. He thought that it would be unreasonable if he didn't go to the casino to play since he was in Las Vegas. If others asked, wouldn't it be a bit embarrassing if he didn't go to the casino after going to Las Vegas? Originally, Zhang Jifang thought that he was just going to play casually. In the end, he took Zhang Bin with him. However, it was obvious that Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang were targeted. In the beginning, Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang had been winning money, which caused their self-confidence to inflate. The more money they won, the more they wanted to continue winning. The more they continued to win, the more they couldn't stop. So, after a series of small wins, a big loss was finally ushered in. However, winning money for a long time had made Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang lose their minds. This big loss didn't wake them up. Instead, they continued to gamble even more. They wanted to recoup their capital and win again. Especially those who hadn't gambled before, it was easier for them to lose their minds. When they were losing in a mess, someone suddenly came to them. This person was Klaas. He told Zhang Jifang and Zhang Bin that the VIP lounge over there was short of people to play poker. He asked them if they wanted to play to get some luck. Chapter 1734. Gamblers believed in luck. So, when Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang lost miserably, someone suddenly told them that they could change their luck. Naturally, they did not hesitate to agree. Moreover, the two of them had seen how to play 5-card stud in Hong Kong movies, so they wanted to try it. So, Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang teamed up, took a seat, and gambled with the others. In the beginning, their luck really changed. They only had a few thousand chips left in their hands. But in a short time, it had become more than 100,000. Both Zhang Jifang and Zhang Bin were very excited. At the same time, they were very emotional. This is really a quick way to make money. Moreover, the gameplay outside was controlled by the gambling machine computer, except for some controlled by the dealer. It was easy to cheat. Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang felt that the gameplay outside was fake. The people who played 5-card stud in the room were all players, so they really relied on luck and skills to play. At first, everyone started winning. Later, Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang lost. In the end, both of them lost the money they brought. They did not know how many times they had exchanged their chips. They really had no money left. Under the instigation of others, the two of them did not know what bewitching potion they had drunk. They actually wanted to gamble with their lives. So, class won this round. Of course, they were indeed bewitched. They were drugged in the free drinks provided by the casino. Their thoughts were no longer under control and were in a state of chaos. It was just that they did not know. Originally, Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang thought that they were done for, but class suddenly asked them to call their family and friends for help. He asked them to find someone to talk to. There was still room for negotiation. So, Zhang Bin quickly called Wang Mei, explained the situation to her, and asked her to contact Yang Ming for help. In Zhang Bin's opinion, it was useless for class to ask for his life. Asking him to call someone was naturally to lose money. So, Zhang Bin did not think so much at all. He subconsciously thought that class was asking for money. At this time, Zhang Bin saw Yang Ming coming and thought that he was here to bail him out, so he was a little excited. However, he felt a little strange when he saw Yang Ming and class walking into the private room without mentioning anything about releasing him. "Mr. Yang, did you see that? Your friends are fine. Can you rest assured to gamble with me now?" Class smiled faintly and pointed at Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang. "Sure." Yang Ming nodded and looked at Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang. Zhang Bin. And of him. Don't be fooled. He cheats. Zhang Bin was anxious when he heard that Yang Ming was going to gamble with class. After thinking about it carefully these 2 days, he also understood that class must be a gambling master. He deliberately set a trap for him and his father. Otherwise, looking at his appearance, bodyguards accompanying him, and the casino security manager being respectful to him, he was obviously a big shot. How could he go to the lobby on the first floor to gamble? Moreover, even if he wanted to gamble, he wouldn't look for tourists like him and his father, right? They should look for people with similar identities. At the very least, they should go to the VIP lounge upstairs. All kinds of doubts also showed that class was up to no good. At this time, when he heard that Yang Ming was going to gamble with class, he naturally reminded him. "Mr. Yang, it seems that your friend has a lot of opinions about me." Class smiled indifferently. He didn't believe that Yang Ming couldn't see any problems. Since Yang Ming had come and agreed to gamble with him, then everything else was secondary. "Zhang Bin, calm down." Yang Ming comforted him faintly. "Oh." Zhang Bin listened to Yang Ming's words very much. He obeyed whatever Yang Ming said, so when Yang Ming asked him to calm down, Zhang Bin shut his mouth. Although he still wanted to remind Yang Ming, looking at Yang Ming's appearance, he should also know that there was a problem, so he didn't say anything. Class, although it's not 9 o'clock yet, I hope to end this quickly. Shall we start now? Yang Ming glanced at class and asked. Okay, no problem. Since Mr. Yang said so, let's start. Class naturally didn't care. Sooner or later, he thought that Yang Ming's fate was doomed. There was no suspense. What are we playing? Yang Ming sat casually on one side of the gambling table and asked faintly. Yang Ming's seemingly casual move was actually carefully calculated. Yang Ming's position happened to be a blind spot. If they shot from outside the door, this was a blind spot. If they aimed from outside the window, they wouldn't be able to see Yang Ming's position. Yang Ming had observed before that even armor-piercing bullets couldn't penetrate the walls of the casino. Of course, it would be a different story if they used wall-piercing rocket launchers. However, they couldn't make such a big move. This was Las Vegas, a world-class economic and prosperous city. If they used rocket launchers, the local police would not let them go. Seeing that Yang Ming was actually sitting in a blind spot in the room, class couldn't help but frown. He originally planned to let the sniper shoot Yang Ming if it really didn't work in the end. However, Yang Ming's position happened to be the only blind spot in the room. Mr. Yang, your position isn't very good. There are only two of us playing. You don't have to sit so far away. If I sit here, won't we be very far away? Class said casually. He pulled up the chair closest to him and said to Yang Ming, Brother Yang, don't worry. I believe in intuition. I believe that this position can bring me good luck. I don't want to change it. I'm sorry. Yang Ming shrugged. If you think it's far, sit closer. If you think it's appropriate, I have no problem. It's not far. Class was a little speechless. However, since Yang Ming had already said so, he naturally couldn't ask Yang Ming to change the position. Otherwise, it would be a little troublesome if Yang Ming lost and said that it was because of the seat. So, class endured his displeasure and sat opposite Yang Ming's position. This was a long table. According to the position that class had chosen previously, the two people's positions would be diagonal. That would be a little too far. Mr. Yang, you are the guest. Can you tell us how to play? Class suggested. 1 game per person. You go first. I'll follow your lead. Yang Ming said indifferently. Well, then let's play the simplest game. How about blackjack? Class asked. Okay. Yang Ming nodded. The so-called blackjack was also known in English as blackjack. It originated in France and had now spread all over the world. The game was played by 2 to 6 people. 52 cards were used except for the jokers. The goal of the players was to make the sum of the cards in their hand not exceed 21 points and try to make it as big as possible. Blackjack had a long history. It was also abbreviated as blackjack or big jack in China. Blackjack card games were played in French casinos around 1700. In 1931, when gambling was declared legal in the state of Nevada, the game of blackjack appeared publicly for the first time in Nevada casino clubs. Within 15 years, it had replaced the game of craps and became one of the most popular gambling games in the casinos that dealers participated in. So, class proposed this gambling game because it was very popular. If he proposed a less popular game and Yang Ming said that he didn't know how to or wasn't good at it, it would be difficult to handle. Mr. Yang, do you want to designate a dealer at will or do the casino arrange it? Class asked. It's up to you. Yang Ming didn't think that the dealer could play any tricks. Smith, go outside and call a dealer in. Class didn't want to play any tricks with the dealer because it wasn't realistic. Soon, a dealer walked in. Class told him to play blackjack. The dealer nodded respectfully and took out a brand new deck of cards. After opening it, he laid it flat on the table for Yang Ming and Class to check the cards. Chapter 1735. Yang Ming waved his hand casually. Seeing that Yang Ming was like this, Class nodded to indicate that it was okay. The dealer gathered up the cards on the table and began to shuffle them. Class watched the dealer's movements without blinking. Yang Ming was a little amused. This guy must be a quick-witted guy. He is suitable to be a thief. Achoo. Yang Ming sneezed loudly. Class was startled. He quickly covered his mouth and leaned back. But at this moment, he couldn't keep up with the dealer's shuffling speed. Of course, it was impossible to memorize the position of every card. Class could only pick the top few cards to memorize. In a game like blackjack, the only cards that could be used were the top few cards. The rest of the cards were not useful at all. Class frowned. He didn't know if Yang Ming was doing it deliberately. But if it was intentional, wouldn't he also not remember the order of the small cards? Or could it be that he couldn't remember at all, so he deliberately messed up to prevent Class from remembering? But in any case, if Class couldn't remember, Yang Ming definitely couldn't remember either. So apart from feeling upset, Class wasn't too worried. It was just that he had an 80% chance of winning, but it became 50%. This always made Class feel a little unlucky. Of course, it was impossible for him to ask for a new deck of cards to be shuffled. That would be too fake. The dealer shuffled the cards and asked Class to cut them. Class couldn't remember the order, so it didn't matter. He cut the cards randomly. But when his hand shook, 2 cards slipped into his sleeve. All of this happened in a flash. Even the others on the side didn't notice it. Class's movements were very secretive. Even a camera couldn't record his movements. However, Yang Ming always felt that this Class was not honest. How could he not guard against his little tricks? So Yang Ming seemed to be sitting there indifferently, and his eyes were not staring at Class's hands. But did Yang Ming need to look directly at someone if he wanted to stare at them? Yang Ming had already locked onto Class with his special ability. It was possible to hide from other people's eyes, but it was simply a pipe dream to hide from Yang Ming's X-ray vision. Yang Ming had been carefully watching Class's movements. His actions were like slow motion in Yang Ming's eyes. Yang Ming watched Class hide the 2 cards in his sleeves. Yang Ming snorted and curled his lips. This guy is really bold, huh? He had hidden 2 cards. Do you really think I'm blind? He looked at the 2 cards in Class's sleeves. One was the Ace of Spades, and the other was the 5 of Diamonds. One was a big card, and the other was a medium card. Although Class had drawn them at random, it had to be said that his luck was good enough. These 2 cards were very suitable for cheating. No matter what the cards in his hand were, it was possible to secretly change them to a bigger one. But his good luck only ended when he met Yang Ming. His luck ended now. I'll let you be proud for a while. You'll cry later. Yang Ming smiled faintly. When the dealer signaled him to cut the cards, Yang Ming shook his head again, indicating that there was no need. The dealer nodded, then asked which side to start dealing the cards. Mr. Class is the master, so let's start with him. Yang Ming made an inviting gesture. Class nodded and didn't say anything. It didn't matter who started. It was impossible to divide the dealer into 2 people's blackjack like many people did. For the sake of fairness, both of them were now playing as the dealer. The dealer would be the dealer. Anyway, He couldn't remember the order of the cards, but he had already stolen 2 cards in his hand, so he still had a good chance of winning. The dealer gave Class and Yang Ming 2 cards each, a face card and a dark card. Class's face card was a 3 of clubs, and his face card was a 4 of hearts. This was a relatively small deck of cards, so it was more advantageous. Yang Ming's face card was an 8 of hearts, and his face card was a 7 of spades. This kind of card was more awkward. It was 15 points. It was neither too high nor too low. If he wanted another card, he was afraid that he would lose. If he didn't want it, his points would be easily surpassed by others. Class picked up his face card and looked at it. A smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. While he was looking at the cards, he had also looked at the 2 cards he had stolen from his sleeve. Then, his smile deepened. After hiding the cards, Class put the face card on the table again, and then said to the dealer, "I want one." The dealer nodded and gave Class another card. It was a 6 of clubs. Class's eyes widened. He didn't expect himself to be so lucky. His face card was now a 4 of hearts and a 6 of clubs, and he still had an ace of spades in his hand. In this way, as long as he changed the 3 of clubs from his face card to the ace of spades in his sleeve, he would have 21 points. This was a jackpot. As long as the 2 cards in Yang Ming's hand didn't directly form 21 points, he would win this game. Of course, Yang Ming's face card was a 7 of spades, so it was impossible for him to have 21 points. Class pretended to frown and took the face card in his hand again. Then, he rubbed it and put it back in its original place. The process of changing cards was completed in an instant. Halt. Class didn't want it anymore. Yang Ming was a little amused. "You're cheating and you're still playing seriously." Yang Ming shrugged and said directly, "Halt." Yang Ming saw that the next card was a 9 of clubs. If he asked for another card, he would be done for. Even if he exposed Class at that time, it would be a little inappropriate for him to lose his card. Ha! Class was overjoyed when he heard Yang Ming call for a halt. "Doesn't that mean that I've already won?" If Yang Ming asked for another card, he could also make 21 points. Then, the 2 sides could still be tied. However, Yang Ming didn't want it anymore. Did he think that he had lost all his cards? "Both sides, reveal your cards," said the dealer. Class listened to the dealer's words and smiled slightly. He reached out and lifted his face card. It was the ace of spades that he had changed. Together with the 2 face cards on the table, the 4 of hearts and the 6 of clubs, they formed 21 points. "Sorry, you let me win." Class shrugged because it was impossible for Yang Ming's cards to be bigger than his. So, no matter what Yang Ming's face card was, he was bound to lose. Class didn't expect things to go so smoothly today. The winner and loser were decided in one round. He originally thought that it would be a fierce battle. It seems that Yang Ming is just a so-so. He is not as powerful as the rumors say. The boss is too nervous. Class thought that Yang Ming's life was going to be his, so he smiled proudly. He seemed to see the scene where the boss patted him on the shoulder, expressed satisfaction with him, and wanted to promote him. "Sorry, I was distracted." Yang Ming shrugged. "Oh, it's okay." Class said so, but he thought in his heart, "Do you think that being distracted is a good reason? Can you act shamelessly just because you were distracted?" So, Class was a little amused. "I forgot to say something." "Let's say it now." Yang Ming smiled and pointed to the poker cards in the dealer's hand. "There is a problem with this deck of cards." "A problem?" The dealer was stunned. Class was also stunned. He didn't know what Yang Ming meant. Class thought, could it be that Yang Ming wants to act shamelessly after losing? What do you mean by this? How can there be a problem with this deck of cards? Class said with a sullen face. If I say that there is a problem, then there is naturally a problem. Yang Ming laughed. Mr. Yang, could it be that you are not satisfied with the outcome of this game and are deliberately looking for some excuses? Class was a little displeased. I finally won. What does this Yang Ming mean by saying these words? Well, since you say that there is a problem with this deck of cards, then tell me. What is the problem with this deck of cards? There is no 5 of diamonds and 3 of clubs in this deck of cards, so the result of this game is invalid. Yang Ming pointed to the remaining poker cards in the dealer's hand and said. Chapter 1736. You're talking nonsense. Class's expression suddenly changed, and his heart skipped a beat. How is this possible? How could Yang Ming know what is missing from these cards? However, what Yang Ming said was true because these 2 cards were hidden in Class's sleeves at the moment. However, even if what Yang Ming said was true, it was impossible for him to know these. When he was secretly taking photos, even if Yang Ming noticed that he was secretly taking photos, it was impossible for him to see what cards he stole. Moreover, one of the 3 of clubs cards was exchanged with his own hidden card, so Yang Ming had no reason to know. When the cards were checked before, he had not stolen any cards, so Yang Ming also saw that there were no problems with the cards. So, how did Yang Ming know that these 2 cards were missing? Nonsense. Yang Ming smiled indifferently. Whether it's nonsense or not, everyone will know when you open the cards now. Right? With the dealer's eyesight, he naturally could not see the scene of Class stealing the cards, so he was also very puzzled at the moment. What was Yang Ming talking about? When the cards were checked before, he also looked at them one by one. There were no missing cards. Humph. You want to renege on your debt after losing, right? Class naturally did not want Yang Ming to check the cards. Wouldn't he be exposed if that happened? Even if he was not exposed, this game would be voided. According to the rules, if there were missing cards or other problems with the cards, the result of the game would be voided. There were similar rules in the International King of Gamblers tournament. This would also be a powerful blow to those who cheated. But even so, no one would be so sure when there was no absolute evidence. This was because at the level of the King of Gamblers, everyone cheated. It was nothing more than the pot calling the kettle black. Won't we know if we renege on our debt after checking the rest of the cards? Yang Ming said faintly. Okay, since this gentleman is suspicious, then let's check the cards. The dealer did not know that Class stole the cards. When he heard Yang Ming say this, he thought that Yang Ming was saying that he cheated. Naturally, he was a little unhappy, so he agreed to let Yang Ming check the cards to prove his innocence. Class did not expect the dealer to agree. His face suddenly became a little gloomy, and his eyebrows knitted together. If the cards were checked, the result that Yang Ming said would inevitably appear. However, before Class could speak, the dealer had already put the cards in his hand on the table. Sir, please check them carefully. The dealer's tone was not very good. He naturally wanted to prove his innocence and Yang Ming's nonsense. Dealer's Class, are there any cards? Yang Ming said, smiled, calm. The dealer had nothing to say at first. After listening to Yang Ming's words, he sneered in his heart. Won't we know at a glance? However, his expression was a little bad. From the beginning to the end, except for the 5 cards that were previously issued, there was indeed no Class or 3 of clubs. In other words, Yang Ming was right. These 2 cards were missing from this deck. However, the dealer had also checked the cards before. They were not missing, right? Then, where did these 2 cards go? The dealer's first thought was that either Yang Ming or Class cheated. However, since Yang Ming could clearly say which 2 cards were missing, it seemed that he was very clear about what cards were stolen. If the person who cheated was Class, then Yang Ming could only see that 2 cards were missing at most. He could not see the suit of the cards. If this was the case, then Yang Ming must be the cheater. He saw that he was going to lose, so he deliberately said this to cancel the bet. However, he pushed the responsibility to the dealer. After all, it was definitely the dealer's responsibility to lose the cards. So, the dealer was a little angry when he thought of this. He said coldly, "Sir, how did you happen to know what was missing from this deck? You're not the one who cheated, are you? You know, our casino does not welcome cheaters." "Really? Did I cheat?" Yang Ming smiled faintly. "From the beginning to the end, I haven't touched the cards." "Oh, yes, I haven't even touched the cards on the table. They were all sent by you. Are you sure that I cheated?" The dealer thought about it carefully. Yes, from the beginning to the end, Yang Ming's hands were flat on the table with his palms together. He didn't touch the cards at all. He didn't even touch his own cards. How did he cheat? Could it be that he had superpowers? Isn't that too ridiculous? So, those who have touched the cards will know who cheated. Yang Ming sneered, "Isn't that right, Mr. Class?" "It wasn't me." The dealer now knew that it was impossible for Yang Ming to cheat. So, the cheater must be Class. However, he had already pointed the finger at Yang Ming previously. Moreover, the evidence was conclusive that Yang Ming was the cheater. Class's suspicion was reduced by a lot. At this time, it was a bit unreasonable to say that Class was the cheater. It was as if he was a dog that bit someone in a hurry. Take him out. Although Smith didn't know what was going on, the dealer was obviously more suspicious. He wasn't sure if the dealer deliberately cheated to help Yang Ming, so he was very angry. "Mr. Smith, it wasn't me. I didn't cheat." The dealer was shocked. He estimated that if he went out this time, not only would he lose his job, but he would also be punished. He suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. He was a little annoyed at the cheater in his heart. He also regretted saying that Yang Ming was the cheater in a hurry. After being refuted by Yang Ming, he couldn't accuse others anymore. "Don't be so anxious. Won't we know who cheated after searching him?" Yang Ming pointed at the dealer and said, "I don't think he cheated. If you don't believe me, get someone to search him." "Humph. No need." Class saw that Yang Ming obviously wanted to make things more complicated. That would be disadvantageous to him, so he could only swallow his anger. "Maybe there is a problem with this deck of cards. This round is invalid. Let's play again. Then let's continue." Smith saw that Class had said so he didn't insist. He said to the dealer, "Be careful next time." "Why are you so careless? Don't you know that there are missing cards?" The dealer really wanted to cry but had no tears. Fortunately, he had escaped a disaster, so he immediately breathed a sigh of relief. "Okay, I'll get another deck of cards," said the dealer. He picked up the cards on the table and put them directly into the shredder on the side of the room to destroy the used cards. Class thought that since he had hidden 2 cards, he could change them again later. This time, he would be more careful when checking the cards. He could announce to everyone that there were no missing cards in the deck. After Yang Ming confirmed it, it would be difficult for him to say that there was a problem with the cards. It had to be said that Class's calculations were quite good, but he didn't know if he could get what he wanted. "I think it's better to change to another manufacturer's deck of cards. This manufacturer's deck of cards is not very good. There are 2 missing cards in this deck. Then, in the next deck, maybe there will be 2 more cards. For example, there will be an extra 5 of diamonds or 3 of clubs. It's hard to say, isn't it, Mr. Class? Said Yang Ming as he watched the dealer bring in an identical deck of cards. How is this possible? Of course, Class didn't think that Yang Ming was just saying it casually. He must have seen through his purpose. Class was annoyed, but he couldn't do anything about it. He could only say, then change to another deck. The manufacturer of this deck of cards is really not very good. The dealer was also afraid that there would be a problem, so he nodded and changed to another manufacturer's deck of cards. The pattern behind each manufacturer's deck of cards was different, so the two cards that Class had hidden before were useless. This made Class a little depressed. Zhang Bin's heart almost fell out just now. From the conversation between Yang Ming and Class, he had already understood that Yang Ming was gambling with Class for him and his father. He was moved, but he was also deeply worried. He was afraid that Yang Ming would also lose. At that time, wouldn't he implicate Yang Ming? Zhang Jifeng also deeply blamed himself, but as an elder, he had no face to face. He could only lower his head. However, the nervousness in his heart was no less than Zhang Bin's. Chapter 1737. Just now, he also saw that Class's cards had actually reached 21. Zhang Bin suddenly felt like the sky was falling down. He felt dizzy for a while. Is Yang Ming going to lose his life here? However, Zhang Bin also knew that he had no right to speak here. Even if he resisted, the other party would not take him seriously. He could only look at Yang Ming anxiously. When he saw Yang Ming calmly say that he forgot to say something just now, Zhang Bin knew that Yang Ming was not a pushover. He already had a countermeasure. Sure enough, after Yang Ming spoke, the situation changed sharply. Class, who was originally the winner, suddenly became the loser. His face was gloomy and ugly. Although Zhang Bin did not know how Yang Ming reversed the situation and knew that two cards were missing from the deck, a victory was a victory. No matter how Yang Ming did it, the final result was good. Zhang Bin was overjoyed. Sure enough, Yang Ming did not let him down. The boss is the boss. He's too awesome. He played Class until he couldn't get angry at all. This method of beating the opponent is simply too refreshing. I'm just saying it casually. If there's something wrong, we'll correct it. If there's nothing wrong, we'll make up for it. Besides, I'm talking about the quality of the poker cards. Why is Mr. Class so agitated? Could it be that these poker cards are produced by your family? Yang Ming smiled faintly and said sarcastically. I'm just saying it casually. What does this poker card have to do with me? Class's expression changed. He smiled and said, shall we continue with the competition? Let's not study the poker cards anymore. Well, that's true. Let's continue. Yang Ming nodded to the dealer, indicating that he could start. This time, you have to pay close attention to the poker cards. If there are two less cards, you can't explain it clearly even if you have the mouth. The dealer's expression changed. He knew that Yang Ming was reminding him. Previously, he had blamed Yang Ming for stealing the cards. In the end, Yang Ming did not touch the poker cards at all, so it was definitely impossible for him to steal the cards. The dealer was still very ashamed about this. So he placed his suspicion on Class. Especially after Class's somewhat unnatural reaction, the dealer was even more certain of his thoughts. However, Class was introduced by Smith. He was said to be a good friend of the big boss, so it was impossible for the dealer to fall out with Class. So the dealer was very grateful for Yang Ming's reminder. This time, the dealer smiled kindly at Yang Ming and began to open the packaging of the poker cards. Class's expression became even worse when he heard Yang Ming's words. But at this time, he couldn't explain anything. The more he explained, the more people would think that he was trying to cover up. So, class could only endure his anger and snort. Please check the cards. The dealer spread the poker cards on the table and said to Yang Ming and class. Mr. Yang Ming, you have to look carefully this time. Are there any missing cards? Class said to Yang Ming, otherwise, it won't be good if there are fewer cards. I've finished looking. There's no problem. How about Mr. Class? Yang Ming nodded with a smile. I have no problem either, Class said plainly. Well, you can shuffle the cards, Yang Ming said to the dealer. The dealer nodded and began to shuffle the cards quickly. Class's eyes stared at the movements of the dealer's hands without blinking. Yang Ming laughed secretly. This guy is starting to remember the cards again. Naturally, I can't let him do as he wishes. Yang Ming touched his chin and said, Mr. Class, how can there be missing cards in that deck of cards just now? Ah, what? Class was focused on the poker cards in the dealer's hand. He was stunned when he suddenly heard Yang Ming's question. How would I know? However, just as Class was stunned, he couldn't keep up with the speed of the dealer's hands. The previous order had been messed up. Class was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. This Yang Ming didn't say anything earlier or later. He just had to say something nonsense at the critical moment. Damn, it's really infuriating. Speaking of which, this casino is quite large. I didn't expect there to be a problem with the poker cards inside. Fortunately, I discovered it. If it were an ordinary gambler who didn't pay attention, wouldn't he have suffered a huge loss? Yang Ming and the casino were also affected. Originally, Yang Ming was dissatisfied with the South City Casino helping Class. Naturally, he wouldn't give the casino any face at this time. I don't produce poker cards. How am I supposed to know? Class was a little impatient. This Yang Ming really knows how to ruin things. There's no other way. I can only see if I can steal more cards this time. If it doesn't work, I can only rely on pure luck. Class was very depressed. He definitely suspected that Yang Ming was doing it deliberately. He thought that this kid's eyesight was not good enough. He couldn't remember the order of the dealer's shuffle. He didn't want Class to remember it, so he deliberately caused trouble. He wanted Class to be like him and rely on luck. The dealer finished shuffling the cards, then put the poker cards on the table and said, "Please cut the cards." Class was about to reach out when Yang Ming suddenly said, "Stop. Don't move." Class was shocked. His heart almost fell out of his chest. He cursed Yang Ming for being so wicked in his heart. He frowned and looked at Yang Ming. "What are you going to do? It's best for both of us not to touch those poker cards. If there is a missing card this time, you will be the first suspect." Yang Ming seemed to be reminding Class for his own good. In fact, he was basically saying that Class would steal the cards. Class didn't expect this Yang Ming to be so difficult to deal with. From now on, he finally began to face this opponent seriously. His previous contempt was gone. He finally understood why the boss asked him to do this seriously. "I don't need you to remind me. I won't touch it." With that said, Class's hand touched Class's hair. "I'm just messing with my hairstyle." Yang Ming's words made the dealer break out in a cold sweat. Now that he thought about it, Class might have stolen 2 cards by cutting the cards. In this case, he really couldn't be careless. Since Yang Ming said that he wouldn't cut the cards, he quickly put away the poker cards and cut them twice. Then he said, "Who will go first this time?" "Mr. Yang, you decide." Class couldn't remember the cards anyway, so he might as well be generous and let Yang Ming choose. He didn't want Yang Ming to find excuses when he lost. The last competition was voided. So this time, it should be Mr. Class's turn, said Yang Ming with a smile. Okay. Class didn't refuse and said to the dealer, let's start. Yang Ming said this because he had already seen the cards. If Class dealt the cards first, then it would be 2 tens when it was his turn. Whether Class asked for a card or a halt, it was impossible for him to have a bigger hand than his. If Class asked for 2 more cards, he would explode. Class's bottom card was a 9 of hearts, and his face card was an 8 of clubs. Yang Ming's bottom card was a 10 of hearts, and his face card was a 10 of spades. Class asked for a card first. Class hesitated a little. His deck was pretty fucked up. It added up to 17 points. It was neither too big nor too small. If he asked for another card, it would be easy for him to explode. However, seeing that Yang Ming's face card was a 10 of spades, Class was a little unwilling if he didn't want it. After hesitating, Class said, I want one. Hee hee. Yang Ming laughed lightly, startling Class. What are you laughing at? Class was a little annoyed. He was a little timid and didn't know if he should continue to ask for cards. What did this Yang Ming mean by suddenly laughing? Is he laughing that I'm going to explode? That's not right. Yang Ming can only see my face card and not my bottom card. Why is he laughing? My cards are good. Can't I laugh a little? Yang Ming looked at Class as if he was looking at a fool and said matter-of-factly. This. Class was speechless. Is there anyone like you? You laugh because your cards are good. Don't you know that it's taboo to show your emotions when gambling? Are you afraid that others won't be able to tell what your cards are? However, Class naturally couldn't completely believe Yang Ming's words. Yang Ming was very sly. In his opinion, Yang Ming's gambling skills might be terrible, but he knew how to play some clever tricks. Chapter 1738. Don't scare people even if you have good cards, Class said gloomily. Then, he waved to the dealer, I want another one. The dealer nodded, took out another poker card, and placed it in front of Class. Class's face suddenly twitched. He didn't expect such a card. It was an ace of diamonds. This card could be regarded as a 1 or an 11 in blackjack. But in the current situation, it could only be used as a 1. If it was an 11, it would explode. 17 plus 1 made 18. Class was even more depressed. This card is neither too big nor too small. But in the current situation, he didn't dare to continue asking for cards even if he was beaten to death. If he continued, he would most likely explode. Now, he could only hope that Yang Ming's cards were smaller than his, or that Yang Ming would explode after asking for another card. Halt, Class said, Mr. Yang, it's your turn. I don't want it, said Yang Ming. I already said that my cards are very good. What else do I want? Well, since both sides have halted, let's reveal the cards, said the dealer. Class and Yang Ming revealed their cards at the same time. When Class saw that Yang Ming's card was also a 10, his face immediately turned pale. I lost. I actually lost. Hee hee, Mr. Class, thank you for letting me win. Yang Ming smiled and said, of course, you can also think that there is a problem with the poker cards and ask for a review. Humph. Class snorted coldly. He had already seen whether there was a problem with the poker cards before. Naturally, he wouldn't find fault in this aspect. From beginning to end, Yang Ming had not touched any other cards except for his own cards. Of course, he didn't think that Yang Ming did it by secretly swapping cards. In that case, one of these two people can go with you. Class nodded. Mr. Yang, do you want to continue gambling on the next round or take one person with you? Although Class said so, he also knew that since Yang Ming came, he would definitely not take only one person with him. If he wanted to take, he would take both people with him. He just wanted to squeeze Yang Ming. Let's continue. Yang Ming was not angry and said lightly. Yang Ming. Don't gamble anymore. You take Zhang Bin away. Don't worry about me. Zhang Jifang suddenly spoke and interrupted Yang Ming. Zhang Jifang's emotions were a little emotional. Yang Ming, I'll leave Zhang Bin in your hands in the future. Yang Ming also understood Zhang Jifang's sudden words very well. Zhang Jifang saw that Zhang Bin was saved after Yang Ming won one round. He didn't want Yang Ming to risk gambling again. He was afraid that Yang Ming wouldn't be so lucky in the next round and would lose Zhang Bin again. He thought that since he was already so old, it was fine if he died. Zhang Bin still had a long way to go. In the future, Zhang Bin would have Yang Ming to take care of him. Zhang Jifang couldn't do too badly. Zhang Jifang could leave with peace of mind. Uncle Zhang, don't worry. Yang Ming smiled faintly. If we're going back, we'll naturally go back together. Zhang Jifang could only shut up when he heard Yang Ming say so. After all, Yang Ming was the one who made the decision. He was just giving a suggestion. Mr. Yang, can we start? Asked class. Let's start. Yang Ming nodded. The dealer put away the poker cards on the table and threw them into the shredder. Then, he took out another deck of poker cards and opened them for everyone to check. Then, he cut the cards and asked, who's going first this time? Class's eyes followed the dealer's movements this time. Yang Ming didn't say anything to disturb him. This made class feel relieved. After all, this time, he roughly remembered what the first few cards in the dealer's hand were. Although it was impossible to be so accurate, it was not far from the mark. In this round, the person who asked for the cards first had an absolute advantage. Seeing that Yang Ming was still indifferent and calm, class was a little disdainful. This guy is just a little smart and lucky. As long as I'm careful this time, I can win a round. Who's going first this time? Asked the dealer after putting away the cards. Mr. Yang, you decide. Class hesitated for a moment. He felt that it was better to let Yang Ming speak first. The previous 2 times, he was the one who let Yang Ming speak first. If he suddenly said that he would speak first this time, what if Yang Ming became suspicious? That kid is not easy to deal with. So, in order to avoid Yang Ming's suspicion, class pretended to ask again. In his opinion, Yang Ming had let him go first the previous 2 times. This time, he guessed that it would be the same. Oh, the first time is invalid. You were the one who went first the second time. Then, it's my turn to go first this time. It's fair, said Yang Ming lightly. What? Class was immediately dumbfounded after hearing Yang Ming's words. It can't be. Why is Yang Ming so unwilling to let me go first this time? Why was he so modest the previous 2 times? What the hell is Yang Ming doing? However, Yang Ming's reason was normal and impeccable. The first time was invalid. Then, class was the one who dealt the cards first the second time. So, it was normal for Yang Ming to deal the cards first this time. At this time, if class said that he was going to deal the cards first, then Yang Ming would definitely be more suspicious and even doubt his motives. So, class was really helpless. If he had known earlier, he would not have asked Yang Ming and directly asked for the cards to be dealt. Although it was a little unreliable, it was better than now. What's wrong, Mr. Class? Mr. Class. Yang Ming pretended not to know. Nothing. I was always dealt the cards first before. This time, Mr. Yang took the initiative to ask for the cards, which surprised me a little, said Class embarrassedly. Oh, are you surprised? Yang Ming smiled. Why don't you go first? Class was suddenly excited after hearing Yang Ming's words. He wanted to say, "That's good," but he suddenly stopped. If he said that, Young Ming would definitely be suspicious. At that time, it would be even more impossible for him to go first. So, class hesitated and said, "I don't care. Mr. Yang has the final say." "Oh, then. I'll go first." Yang Ming said to the dealer, "Let's start." Class's heart was in a mess before, and his heart almost fell out. When he heard Yang Ming say, "Then," he thought that Yang Ming wanted to say, "Then you go first." In the end, Yang Ming said, "Then I'll go first." Damn, if I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have been so modest. I would have just said, "Well, I'll go first." Why bother? I'm really afraid of the wolf in front and the tiger behind. I'll suffer even more in the end. Class was depressed. He had missed 2 opportunities, which made him feel so sullen in his heart that he wanted to die. However, it was useless to be depressed and sullen now. He could only go all out in this game and hope that Yang Ming would make a mistake and blow up or not ask for a card. Class had already thought that the person who asked for a card first would have an 8 of clubs as his bottom card, and a 10 of diamonds as his face card. This would add up to 18 points. It was relatively big, but it was not a very big card. In this case, if Yang Ming asked for another card, it would be an ace of hearts, which would add up to 19 points. If he asked for another card, it would be an ace of diamonds, which would add up to 20 points. If he asked for another card, it would be a 7 of clubs, which would definitely blow up. So, he prayed that Yang Ming would not keep asking for more. In this way, his bottom card would be a 9 of diamonds, and his face card would be an 8 of diamonds, which would add up to 17 points. If Yang Ming did not want a single card, he would ask for 2 aces in a row, which would make it 19 points in one fell swoop, surpassing Yang Ming's 18 points. "Sir, do you want a card?" the dealer asked Yang Ming. "Oh, let me see." Yang Ming pretended to look at his bottom card, and then said, It's a bit difficult. Should I take it or not?" Class was nervous because of Yang Ming's words. He was about to die. This was the most depressing gamble he had ever made since his debut. His heart was beating up and down with Yang Ming. If this continued, his heart would definitely fall out. This kid is too good at toying with people. This is the last round. Mr. Yang, you don't want to waste all your previous efforts, right? Class seemed to be hinting at Yang Ming kindly. He was also hinting to him to quit while he was ahead and not take risks. It was better to play it safe. After all, it was already 18 points. If he asked for more cards, he would probably blow up. Chapter 1739. "Oh, you're right." Yang Ming nodded in agreement after listening to Class's words. Class was overjoyed. Does Yang Ming mean that he doesn't want any cards? Then, isn't I going to win? Wahahaha. Yang Ming, oh Yang Ming, you are still too inexperienced to fight with me. Although I was at a disadvantage in this round, I finally succeeded in reversing the situation. I am the big winner. Wahahaha, that's great. This is the last round. I don't want to waste all my previous efforts, so I've decided. I want another card. After Yang Ming finished speaking, he smiled gratefully at Class. Aw. Class's mouth was wide open, and his eyes were wide open. Want another card? Did I hear it wrong? Didn't he decide? He shouldn't want another card. Why does he want another one? I thought that I already had a lot of cards in my hand, so I didn't want any more. But after hearing what you said, I thought it was right. It's the last round, so I have to gamble. Otherwise, all my previous efforts will be wasted. Yang Ming said seriously, "This way, my chances of winning will be higher." Class almost cried after listening to Yang Ming's words. My chances of winning will be higher if I gamble. It seems that my words have the opposite effect. Yang Ming didn't intend to continue asking for cards, but my words made him change his mind. Motherfucker, what the hell is this? Isn't this a joke? How does this Yang Ming's brain work? Is he really stupid or just pretending to be stupid? Why is my mouth so cheap? Will it kill me to keep my mouth shut? Why did I have to say a few more words? In fact, what Class didn't know was that it was completely useless for him to say this sentence. Yang Ming deliberately wanted to mess with him and make him feel uncomfortable. If he didn't speak, Yang Ming would say that his original intention was to ask for another card. In that case, Class would be equally depressed. He would hate himself for not being more talkative and persuading Yang Ming. This was exactly the effect that Yang Ming wanted. Let this guy have a belly full of evil tricks. If he didn't mess with him, who else would he mess with? Class's expression was very bad, but there was no other way. The facts were right in front of him. His loss was a foregone conclusion that could not be changed. After that, there was basically no point in continuing to gamble. Class was a little bored, but on second thought, wouldn't it be fine if he could trick Yang Ming into asking for more cards and then make him explode? Thinking of this, Class regained some confidence and tried to smile at Yang Ming. Yeah, but your trump card isn't that big. You should use it as a point, right? Yes. Yang Ming didn't hide it and nodded. In fact, this was also obvious. Yang Ming's face card was a 10 of diamonds. No matter what the bottom card was, his face value was already more than 10 points, so this ace of hearts must be used as a point. So I think that in this case, you might as well strike while the iron is hot and ask for another one, said Class. Oh, you're right. Yang Ming nodded and said, then I'll ask for another one. Dealer, deal the cards. The dealer gave Yang Ming another card. It was an ace of diamonds. Ha! Yang Ming pretended to be surprised as he looked at the card in front of him. Why is it another ace? Class was very excited to see that his scheme had succeeded. It seems that Yang Ming is really easy to fool. He believed what I said and asked for another one. Ha! It seems that Mr. Yang's luck is quite good. Class laughed. Then, do you still want to continue asking for cards? Class's meaning was already very obvious. That is, your luck is very good. Naturally, you have to continue. Yeah, Mr. Class, you're right. My luck is already very good. Yang Ming nodded and said with conviction. Class listened to Yang Ming's words and showed a satisfied smile on his face. However, Yang Ming's next words made it too late for him to cry. Yang Ming continued, thank you for your reminder. A person's luck can't be good all the time, so I've decided that I don't want it anymore. Class was going crazy. Is there a problem with Yang Ming's comprehension ability? What I said was already very clear. Could it be that he didn't understand? It was the same in the past and now. It seems that I can't say anything suggestive in front of him at all. This Yang Ming has a problem with his intelligence. He can't understand hints. I can only say things clearly. Of course, Class was just viciously criticizing. He naturally didn't really think that Yang Ming had a problem with his IQ or poor comprehension ability. Otherwise, the boss behind him wouldn't have spent so much effort to deal with Yang Ming. In his opinion, it was probably because Yang Ming was Chinese. Although his English was very good, he couldn't understand some of the hints that were not very clear. Class didn't think so much before. He thought that since they were at the gambling table, the dealer and Smith definitely couldn't understand Chinese, so Class chose to speak English. Now it seemed that it was necessary for him to speak Chinese to Yang Ming. Don't you want to think about it? Class didn't give up. Halt, Yang Ming smiled and said to the dealer. Sir, do you still want a card? The dealer nodded and asked Class. Class knew what the next card was. If he wanted it, he would definitely lose. It didn't make any sense at all whether he wanted it or not. He said with some resentment, No, halt. Well, please reveal your cards, the dealer said after listening to Class's words. Seeing Yang Ming's trump card, Class said with some frustration and indignation, I lost. Hee, in this way, won't my friend be free? Yang Ming asked with a smile. It's like this. Class was very depressed. He had a good plan, but he didn't expect Yang Ming to win 2 games in a row and reverse the situation all of a sudden. It seems that I should consider forcing Yang Ming to stay. Mr. Yang, you gambled on behalf of your 2 friends in these 2 games. Now that both of us are even, shouldn't we have a fair bet again? Class pretended to be addicted to gambling and said with some dissatisfaction. Oh, is that so? Yang Ming glanced at Class with interest. It seems that this kid really doesn't give up. Bro, don't bet with him. Zhang Bin was anxious when he saw that Yang Ming didn't refuse directly. It was not easy to exchange for such a good situation. Don't lose it again. Zhang Bin was also anxious for a while, but Zhang Bin's words had already expressed his meaning, so he didn't say anything else. Class frowned when he saw Zhang Bin making trouble. If he had known earlier, he would have asked someone to tape their mouths so that they wouldn't cause trouble. Mr. Yang, what do you think? Class pretended not to hear Zhang Bin's words and continued to ask. Yang Ming gestured for Zhang Bin to be quiet, then smiled and said to Class, Your proposal is very good, but what should we bet this time? You have already lost the bet in your hands to me. Hee, as I said, I like excitement and adventure. Class laughed, of course, it's still a bet with our lives. Bet with our lives. You want to bet your life with me? Then whose life should I use? Both of them. Yang Ming pointed at Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang. Ah. Mr. Yang, you won't risk your friends again, right? Class was stunned. He didn't expect Yang Ming to say this. His original intention was to let Yang Ming gamble with his own life. Just kidding, Yang Ming said faintly, well, since you like to bet with your life, then let's bet with our lives. Well, it seems that Mr. Yang is also a gambler. Class was very happy when he heard Yang Ming agree. He had already thought about it. This time, no matter what, he had to seize the initiative. Even if he was shameless, he had to choose whether to ask for the cards first or second. Hee. Yang Ming smiled and didn't answer. Mr. Yang, what are we playing this time? Are we still playing blackjack? Asked Class. Oh, let's change the game this time. After Yang Ming finished speaking, he stood up and walked to Smith. When everyone was wondering what Yang Ming was going to do, a pistol appeared in Yang Ming's hand. Chapter 1740. What are you going to do? Class was shocked when he saw a pistol suddenly appear in Yang Ming's hand. Of course, he was nervous. Is this Yang Ming going to kill me out of anger after seeing that I still want to gamble? Smith's men were also shocked. When they saw Yang Ming holding a gun, they quickly took out their pistols and aimed at Yang Ming. Why are you so nervous? Yang Ming raised his head and glanced at the crowd faintly. Everyone thought, isn't it obvious that you're holding a pistol and asking others why they're nervous? How can we be nervous if you don't hold a gun? I'm just looking for a prop for gambling. Yang Ming said indifferently, since Mr. Class likes adventure and excitement so much, how can I not let you do as you wish? Since it's a bet of life, then let's play something more exciting. What are you trying to say? Class looked at Yang Ming coldly, faintly feeling that something was wrong. Have you seen the Bund? There was an episode where Su Wenxiang and Feng Jingyao gambled in this way. As Yang Ming spoke, he opened the drum of the pistol and poured out all the bullets inside. Then, he casually picked one up and put it in. Then, he quickly moved the drum and made it spin rapidly. Then, he quickly reassembled the drum. Even with Class's eyesight, he couldn't see where the bullet was spinning at this speed. Class's expression changed. He naturally knew how Yang Ming was going to gamble. He had seen the Bund before. Even if he hadn't seen it, he understood what Yang Ming was going to do after seeing what Yang Ming was doing at this moment. One bullet, one shot in turn. Whoever touched the bullet would be unlucky. In fact, Yang Ming had already thought of this method when he first entered the private room. He made this decision because he saw a revolver on Smith's waist. Nowadays, revolvers were rarely used. Whether it was Class's men or Smith's men, they all had automatic pistols in their pockets. Although some countries and armies still use revolvers, it was undeniable that the invention of the revolver in the last century had become history. The revolver was created in 1835. It was a revolver improved by the American Samuel Colt and obtained a British patent. This gun was considered to be the first revolver that was truly widely used. The revolver of a revolver usually had 5 to 6 bullet nests that acted as both magazines and chambers. The bullets were loaded in the nests, and when the revolver rotated, the bullets could be fired one by one against the barrel, ready to be fired. At that time, many sheriffs and cowboys had revolvers on their waists. It was a very eye-catching scene. However, in Yang Ming's opinion, Smith's revolver was obviously a pretentious act or a cowboy. In an emergency situation like a casino, automatic pistols were obviously more useful than revolvers. However, as the head of the security department, Smith only needed automatic pistols. As the boss, he could show off. Unfortunately, he was used by Yang Ming. "Mr. Yang, what you mean is that we use this pistol?" Class didn't expect Yang Ming to be so crazy. "Hee, you want excitement. I think this is the most exciting." Yang Ming said faintly, "Why? Is Mr. Class scared?" "Scared? What a joke. I like excitement the most." Class said against his will as he was pushed back by Yang Ming. "Well, if that's the case, then let's each take a shot." Yang Ming looked at Class. "Which one of us will go first?" Everyone present was dumbfounded. Although they had seen similar plots in movies, they had never seen someone play like this in reality. This is simply crazy. Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang were also dumbfounded. They didn't expect Yang Ming to be so ruthless. He played a bigger game right from the start. Even Smith didn't expect things to turn out like this. He knew the truth. Class's so-called love of adventure and excitement was all nonsense. He was the honorary part-time consultant of the casino. How could he like adventure and excitement? Class was under a lot of psychological pressure at the moment. He had shot himself in the foot. This feeling was very bad. Class sighed. It was not impossible to retreat at this time. He originally thought of dragging it out until his people outside the door sent him a signal to come in and deal with Yang Ming. He wouldn't take this risk. After all, the risk of playing with guns was too great. One mistake and he would really die. It would be fine if Yang Ming died, but if he died, what was the point of playing? However, until now, his people had not contacted him. This made Class very angry. Why are these people so inefficient? Didn't we agree on this long ago? After he entered the casino, they were going to ambush him in the casino on the first floor. After the ambush was done, they would text him. But so far, Class had not received any text messages. Damn, these people dropped the ball at the last moment. After this matter is over, I must impeach them with the boss. But there was no other way. No matter how angry class was, it was useless. Fortunately, he had prepared a second plan. He didn't hang himself on a single tree. Thinking of this, class could only quickly press the send button on his mobile phone and send out the pre-edited text message. He asked his second team to come quickly and be ready to act at any time. What class didn't know was that the people he had ambushed in the casino lobby had long been found out by Golden Bull and others. They were secretly taken away and killed. In the hall, it was naturally easy for the Golden Bull to distinguish who was here for fun and who was here with a purpose. Especially those whose eyes were always drifting towards the third private room, the Golden Bull picked them out one by one. This was also the reason why class had not received any news so far. Since the person had been killed, the corpse naturally would not send a message. However, class also ambushed a special force outside the casino in order to come to the rescue in an emergency. These people were more blatant than those in the lobby. These people were fully armed with guns. They were waiting for class's order to rush directly into the casino's private room to kill people. We have received the order. Everyone is on standby and ready to go. The captain of the special force, who was lying in ambush outside the casino, glanced at the message on his mobile phone and then ordered his men. Yes. These special force members were all well trained. They quickly organized their formation and were ready to act. However, just as these people were about to set off, an accident happened. Raise your hands, or we won't be polite. Wang Peng had been eyeing this group of people for a long time, but seeing that this group of people had no intention of going further, Wang Peng didn't care about them. As a result, Wang Peng suddenly saw the leader start to gather his men after glancing at his mobile phone. Naturally, Wang Peng couldn't sit idly by. He directly called his men to surround them. The members of the special force didn't hold their guns in their hands because they were on standby. As a result, it was too late to take out their guns at this time. With the muzzles pointed at them, these people could only raise their hands gloomily. Come with us, Wang Peng said indifferently. With a wave of his hand, these people were stripped of their weapons and escorted to a bus that had already been prepared. In the private room, class wanted to curse. What the hell is going on with these people? The members of the assassination group that I arranged didn't move at all. As for the special force, I sent a short message to them, but it was like throwing a stone into the sea. Looking at Yang Ming's aggressive gaze, class knew that he couldn't delay any longer. He wanted to hint to Smith to make a move on Yang Ming, but he was afraid that Yang Ming would be alerted. He heard that Yang Ming's skills were also good. He had seen it with his own eyes yesterday. Before he had absolute confidence, class didn't dare to act rashly. Just based on the fact that Yang Ming dared to come here alone and allowed Smith and him to bring people in, class knew that Yang Ming must have a way to protect himself. That was why he arranged for other people to deal with Yang Ming. But now, class had no other choice. He braced himself and said, "Then you go first." "Oh, okay," Yang Ming nodded blankly, picked up the gun, and shot his temple. Chapter 1741. Caw. There was a soft sound. No bullet was fired. It seems that my luck is not bad. It's your turn. Yang Ming pushed the pistol over and placed it in front of class. Looking at Yang Ming's relaxed expression, class was a little speechless. He even thought, is this guy really not afraid of death? Does he not cherish life? I even boldly told him that I like to take risks. Now it seems that I am the one who likes to take risks. Class frowned. There was no reply to any text messages on his phone. I really don't want these subordinates anymore. What's going on? There is no news from the two teams. Isn't this too unreliable? Looking at Yang Ming looking at him aggressively, Class had no choice but to pick up the pistol with a forced smile and aim it at his temple. However, he slightly tilted the muzzle when facing Yang Ming. I won't die if I continue to shoot like this, right? At least, I should be able to be saved if I am sent to the hospital. Thinking of this, Class felt a little comforted in his heart. He breathed a sigh of relief, then clenched his teeth and pulled the trigger on the pistol. Caw! There was another soft sound, but the bullet was still not fired. Class suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. His whole body was drenched in sweat as if he had just been in a sauna. It's your turn. Class let out a sigh of relief and then pushed the pistol to Yang Ming. Now that 2 shots had been fired, there were 4 shots left. One of them had a bullet, so Yang Ming had a 25% chance of being shot and killed. This was a very high chance. Class prayed in his heart. It would be best if Yang Ming died. Then, everything would be fine. Oh, okay. Yang Ming's expression was beyond Class's expectations. Yang Ming still seemed to take the pistol indifferently. Class was shocked. It was normal for Yang Ming to be indifferent about the first shot. But why was the second shot the same? It was as if he wasn't worried that this shot would kill him. Is this kid trying to look tough? It doesn't seem like it. Yang Ming's next move was still as calm as ever. He picked up the pistol, aimed it at his temple, and pulled the trigger. Caw! There was another soft sound, but the bullet was still not fired. It's your turn again, Mr. Class. Yang Ming pushed the pistol to Class. It seems that my luck is not bad. Class cursed in his heart. This Yang Ming is really lucky. He is still alive after 3 shots. If I fire the 4th shot, then the probability is 1/3. But, however, he really didn't know what would happen if he let those 2 unreliable subordinates of his do the work. It's my turn again, hee hee. Class laughed dryly and picked up the pistol. Looking at Yang Ming, Class took a deep breath and aimed the muzzle at his temple. This time, like the last time, the muzzle was a little off. In his opinion, as long as he didn't die, he would accept the pain. Caw! Class pulled the trigger. There was a soft sound. Class didn't feel any pain. It was an empty shot again. Ha 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 ha. After Class fired this shot, he really wanted to laugh heartily. I'm really lucky. After dodging another bullet, there are only 2 shots left. One of them is a bullet. It seems that Yang Ming won't be able to escape this time. Mr. Yang, this time, it's your turn. Class returned the pistol to Yang Ming. It's the last 2 shots. Mr. Yang, you have to be careful. Really? Aren't there 2 more shots? If I don't die, you will die. Why are you so happy? Yang Ming glanced at Class and said sarcastically. Ugh. Class was stunned for a moment, but he thought that what Yang Ming said was right. If Yang Ming didn't die, then Class would be the one to die. He really had no reason to be excited, but since Yang Ming shot first, he should have a higher chance of dying, right? Mr. Yang, you must be joking. How am I happy? I'm just excited. As I said before, I'm a person who likes to take risks. There's only a 50% chance left, so I'm very excited. Class explained with a forced smile. Oh, then continue to be excited. If I don't die, you can be excited to death, said Yang Ming lightly. Class really couldn't figure out where Yang Ming got his courage from. There were only 2 shots left, but he was still calm. It was really strange. Yang Ming ignored Class. He picked up the pistol, aimed it at his temple, and pulled the trigger without hesitation. Caw! There was still a soft sound, but no bullet was fired. It seemed that it was another empty shot. Class was originally hoping that Yang Ming would die with this shot, but the result was very disappointing. Nothing happened to Yang Ming at all. Doesn't that mean that the last shot is loaded? Isn't it my turn? Thinking of this, Class suddenly felt a burst of fear. If it was a gamble before, there was still a chance to live. But now, there is no doubt that I will die. Even if I don't die from this shot, I will be seriously injured. Class's cold sweat suddenly fell. I didn't expect such a result in the end. Isn't this Yang Ming too lucky? He didn't die, and now it's my turn. Mr. Class, do you want me to shoot the last shot for you? Or do you want to do it yourself? Yang Ming looked at Class with a smile. It seems that your luck is very bad. I'll do it myself. Class's face was pale. No one knew what he was thinking. Okay, then you do it yourself. Yang Ming pushed the pistol to Class. You are about to die from the stimulation. Class was speechless for a while. Yang Ming is right. I am about to die from the stimulation. But he was not reconciled. Why? Why? He was not stupid. He knew that he would definitely die with the last shot. Class hesitated. He couldn't shoot, absolutely not. He didn't know what his men were doing. There was still no news from them. It was just right to rush in and solve the problem. Class hesitated, but he already had a plan in his heart. He slowly raised the pistol and then aimed it at his head. Suddenly, his hand moved violently, but the muzzle was aimed at Yang Ming. He pulled the trigger at the speed of light. Click. The gun sounded, but it was a soft sound. No bullet was fired. However, Class did not notice this detail. He subconsciously thought that the bullet had been fired. His eyes stared straight at Yang Ming, waiting for him to fall into a pool of blood. However, Class was disappointed. Yang Ming did not fall into a pool of blood. He didn't even seem to be injured at all. He still sat there calmly, looking at Class with a contemptuous look. Only then did Class realize that there was no bullet in the pistol. He was a little anxious. How is this possible? Is it a jam? He continued to pull the trigger. Click, click, click. There were a few soft sounds again, but still no bullet was fired. At this time, Yang Ming moved. He raised his hand gently and a bullet shot out from Yang Ming's fingers, hitting Class directly between his eyebrows. Class suddenly opened his eyes wide, groaned, and fell down. He was still holding the revolver in his right hand, maintaining the shooting posture. I knew you wouldn't abide by the rules of the game. Yang Ming sneered and said, there is no bullet in the gun at all. The bullet is in my hand. It was precisely because Yang Ming knew that there was no bullet in the gun that he did not dodge when Class shot at him. Otherwise, with Yang Ming's speed, he could have avoided Class's muzzle. Catch him. Don't let him run away. Smith, his men, and Class's men were a little dumbfounded by this sudden change at this moment. However, Smith was the first to react as he loudly ordered his subordinates. Unfortunately, as soon as he gave the order, the door of the private room was kicked open. Golden Bull rushed in with his men and instantly controlled everyone in the private room except for Yang Ming, Zhang Bin, and Zhang Jifang. Chapter 1742. When Yang Ming gave the pistol to Class, he had secretly pressed the transmit button on his cell phone to contact Golden Bull outside. So, after Yang Ming made his move, Golden Bull also rushed in with his men. Leader, what should we do with these people? Golden Bull asked after his men controlled the people in the room. Just unload their weapons, Yang Ming ordered faintly. Yes. Golden Bull obeyed the order and let his men unload everyone's weapons in the room. Then, he stood aside. Since Yang Ming gave such an order, there must be something else. However, Yang Ming didn't say anything, so it was possible that Yang Ming wanted to do it himself. Smith, right? Yang Ming looked up at Smith, whose forehead was pointed at by his men with a gun, and asked. Yes. Mr. Yang. This has nothing to do with me. It's all class's idea. Smith was also frightened. After Yang Ming shot class to death with a bullet, Smith was scared from the bottom of his heart. Really? Yang Ming asked. Yes, that's it. Smith nodded hurriedly. Although he didn't know where these people who rushed in came from, it was obvious that they were all Yang Ming's men. How could Smith dare not to lower his head? Then why were you so arrogant and wanted to catch me when class was dead? Yang Ming asked with a smile. This. Smith could only smile bitterly when he heard Yang Ming's words. Mr. Yang, you also know that I'm just an employee. Our boss wants me to cooperate with class. What can I do? Also, if something happens to class here, our boss will definitely find trouble with me. I have no choice but to keep you here. Oh, in that case, well, I won't make it difficult for you. Yang Ming glanced at class and said to him, I'll give you a chance to pass on the message alive. Yes, yes. Mr. Yang, if you have anything to say, I will definitely pass on your message, Smith said carefully. Tell your boss to inform the patriarch of the Nanching family to meet me at the Douglas Hotel within 24 hours. If he's late, he'll bear all the consequences himself, Yang Ming said to Smith after glancing at him. Ah. Smith didn't expect that Yang Ming would ask him to pass such a message. Suddenly, his face was bitter. If he passed such arrogant words to the boss, wouldn't the boss scold him to death? However, Smith also knew that he had no choice. He could only nod carefully and say, Okay, Mr. Yang. You can rest assured that I will pass on your message. Well, I hope so. Yang Ming stood up and said to Golden Bull, Let them go. Let's go. Yes. Golden Bull carried out Yang Ming's orders to the letter. He immediately ordered his men to release Smith and class's men who were under their control. However, although these people were released, they still didn't dare to act rashly. The other party's numbers and firearms were obviously stronger than theirs. Wasn't it courting death to fight with them? That. Mr. Yang. Smith hesitated and called out to Yang Ming, who was about to leave. What else? Yang Ming glanced at him and didn't get angry. Smith was just a messenger and executor at the bottom level. There was no need for him to stoop down to his level. This kind of character was not worth Yang Ming's attention. In Yang Ming's eyes, Smith was like an ant. He could kill him at will. Mr. Yang. If the boss asks me what the consequences are, how should I answer? Smith asked carefully. He had been thinking about this problem before. Yang Ming said that he would bear the consequences himself. If the boss asked him what the consequences were, he wouldn't be able to explain it clearly. The Nanching family will be exterminated. Yang Ming didn't look at him again. Instead, he took Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifeng out of the private room directly. After they left, Smith fell to the ground. Obviously, he was scared out of his wits. After seeing Yang Ming's means in those powerful men, Smith finally understood how powerful Yang Ming was. No wonder the people behind him were so serious about dealing with Yang Ming. It seems that this kid has been pretending to be a pig to eat the tiger. Fortunately, I am a small character. Yang Ming didn't bother to do anything to me. Otherwise, I would probably be a corpse like class now. Boss, do you need to call someone to stop them? One of Smith's men suggested to Smith after Yang Ming and the others had gone far away. Paw! Smith slapped the underling in the face, causing half of his face to swell up. The underling was stunned by the slap. He didn't know what to do and looked at Smith inexplicably. Motherfucker, stop them. Didn't you see what guns they are using? They are almost as good as the regular army. Even if you want to die, I don't want to die. Smith glared at the man and scolded fiercely, these gods are fighting. Why should we get involved? Let the boss solve it. Oh. The man thought about it and agreed. Why should I show off? Do I think my life is too long? I quickly shut up. Yang Ming, Golden Bull, and the others went out of the casino together, but when they went out, Golden Bull had already asked his men to put away their weapons. No one stopped them. It seemed that Smith was an eye-catching person and didn't do anything unwise. Yang Ming's strength today was unprecedented. In the past, Yang Ming's character was that if people didn't offend him, he wouldn't offend them. If he wasn't forced, Yang Ming wouldn't be so ruthless. But today was different. Yang Ming asked Smith to pass the message strongly, which already showed Yang Ming's determination to deal with the Nanqing family. The reason why Yang Ming became so strong was that he was about to leave for Yunnan immediately. If the things around him weren't dealt with, Yang Ming wouldn't feel at ease. So, for those who were still provoking him during this period, Yang Ming had no patience to deal with them slowly. If you provoke me, then I will kill you so that you can't harass me, my family, and my friends in the future. Yang Ming killed someone in front of Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang. It was also the first time. Although Zhang Bin might know a little about his strength, he hadn't seen it with his own eyes. It was just that Yang Ming didn't care about these anymore. He also believed that Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang wouldn't do anything that was disadvantageous to him. Indeed, Yang Ming's actions today didn't affect Zhang Bin, but Zhang Jifang was really shocked. The Yang Ming who went to Yunnan with him had now become so strong and ruthless. He didn't know what kind of people his subordinates were. They were actually holding guns. However, although Zhang Jifang was shocked, he didn't have any other thoughts. After all, Yang Ming wouldn't harm him and Zhang Bin, so he didn't have to be afraid of anything. Bro, you are so cool today. Zhang Bin held back for a long time and finally praised sincerely. Don't gamble in the future. I can save you once or twice, but I can't save you forever. Yang Ming didn't hear Zhang Bin's words and directly lectured him. Now I'm here. What if I'm not here? Yes, I know. Zhang Bin nodded quickly, but he said, Bro, you are my bro for life. How can you not care about me? What if I die? Yang Ming said coldly. This. It was the first time that Zhang Bin heard Yang Ming talk to him in such a tone. He was a little stunned, but he didn't think much about it. He thought that Yang Ming was angry, so he said that. Yang Ming meant that he didn't want him to gamble in the future, so Zhang Bin quickly promised, Don't worry, bro. I won't touch these in the future. It's not just gambling. It's the same for other things. In the future, you should be more low-key. Don't be too flamboyant. Run the jewelry company honestly. Don't run around. Yang Ming continued to lecture. Yes, I know. Zhang Bin was a bit puzzled. This wasn't Yang Ming's usual style of doing things. What happened today? Chattering non-stop. Chapter 1743. Where did you get this car? Yang Ming looked at Golden Bull's car with some doubts. It was a Chrysler Grand Caravan business car. It had been specially modified to be bulletproof, and the configuration inside had been changed accordingly. It seemed that the car was not temporarily rented or borrowed. Leader, this is the car of the Charles family's Las Vegas branch. Golden Bull smiled. These weapons are also provided by the branch here. Otherwise, it would be very troublesome for so many of us to cross the border with so many weapons. It turns out that the Charles family has a branch here. Yang Ming nodded. It seemed that it was not a coincidence that the Charles family could become so powerful. Their strength was inferior to the butterfly family, but they made up for it in other aspects. The established network points were enough to make up for the gap between them. Yeah, Las Vegas is a city with a relatively large business volume. The assassination missions that the Charles family received were basically aimed at some big shots and dignitaries. They would come here to play in many cases, so there are more opportunities to make a move here. Golden Bull explained, "Leader, where are you going?" Douglas Vast Hotel. Yang Ming said, "You can just send us there, and then be on standby when you go back." Okay. Golden Bull nodded without hesitation. After talking to Golden Bull, Yang Ming turned and walked to Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang, and got in the car with them. Although Yang Ming had shown enough strength today, there were still some things that he was not ready to tell Zhang Bin. These things could only be discussed slowly. The shock that he received today was already very strong. Golden Bull asked his men to go back first, and then personally drove Yang Ming and others to the Douglas Vast Hotel. Bro. Zhang Bin was in the car. He wanted to say something several times, but he stopped. Today's incident had a huge impact on him. Zhang Bin, what do you want to say? Just say it. There is nothing to hide between us. Yang Ming also noticed that Zhang Bin seemed to have something to say, so he asked with a smile. Bro, did you just kill someone? Zhang Bin hesitated and expressed the worry in his heart. Oh, you are worried about this? Yang Ming listened to Zhang Bin's worry and was a little dumbfounded. However, as an ordinary person, it was normal and understandable for Zhang Bin to worry about these things. Although Yang Ming and class were gambling with their lives, it was one thing to gamble with their lives and suicide. It was another thing to be murdered. So, it was normal for Zhang Bin to worry that something would happen to Yang Ming. Yeah, bro, and there were so many people. What if they call? Calm, Yang Ming smiled. Smith is not that stupid. This matter was originally done by them in violation of the rules. Moreover, they are gambling with their lives in the casino. If it is really exposed, their casino will not be able to operate. Do you think the regulatory authorities will allow them to do this? Zhang Bin thought about Yang Ming's words carefully. Yang Ming was right, but he was still a little worried. But, don't worry. In the upper class, once you reach a certain level, you won't use those ordinary means to solve problems. They have suffered a loss this time. They will either give in or take revenge. Yang Ming said, but you don't have to worry. They are targeting me, not you. You and Uncle Zhang are just being used by them. Ah. Zhang Bin had felt that something was wrong before. It seemed that there was no need for Smith and class to go through so much trouble for him and Zhang Jifang. Then, Yang Ming, who was lured out, was formally gambling with class. Zhang Bin felt that things were unusual. At this moment, after hearing Yang Ming's analysis, Zhang Bin understood that the person these people were targeting was Yang Ming, not him. Bro, who are these people? How did you provoke them? Why do you have enemies abroad? Zhang Bin was surprised. Oh, how would I know? Yang Ming smiled bitterly. In fact, he had never understood why the behind-the-scenes boss was always going against him. Judging from the current situation, Yang Ming was still very puzzled. Zhang Bin listened and agreed. Judging from Yang Ming's current performance, he didn't seem to know what these people were up to. If he knew in advance, Yang Ming wouldn't have been patient enough to gamble with them. He would have directly called people in to snatch them. Then you should be careful, said Zhang Bin. I don't care. You just have to be careful. Yang Ming said, "You are someone around me." This identity is likely to be used by some people with ulterior motives. For example, this time, they found me through you. So, if you have nothing to do in the future, just stay in Songjiang. After all, I have been operating there for a long time. No one can do anything to you. Everyone is our own people. I got it, bro, don't worry. I will try to be low-key in the future. Zhang Bin understood the general situation. He didn't want to trouble Yang Ming. During this critical period, he naturally had to be careful. Although he didn't know what happened to Yang Ming today. He was like an uncle who kept talking to him, but Zhang Bin knew that Yang Ming wouldn't just talk nonsense. He wouldn't just casually say something meaningless. Well, go back to the hotel and have a good rest. Don't go out. Leave the next thing to me. Yang Ming patted Zhang Bin's shoulder and said, Wang Mei is a good girl. She didn't abandon you. But you and Cece have to deal with the things over there. Don't worry, bro. I know what to do. Zhang Bin nodded. Zhang Jifang had been sitting aside. He was calmer than Zhang Bin. Although he saw Yang Ming kill people in front of him today, he wasn't as worried as Zhang Bin. He also saw that the competition between Yang Ming and the people behind class was a high-level competition. They wouldn't care about the life and death of their subordinates. Moreover, the purpose of the people behind class was to kill Yang Ming. So, they had already reached a state of life and death. Naturally, no one would call the police. Just like how Yang Ming didn't choose to call the police, Zhang Jifang also learned a lesson this time. Although this time he and Zhang Bin were targeted because of Yang Ming, from another point of view, if he wasn't so fond of gambling, and if his eyes were red from gambling, the other party wouldn't have had the opportunity to take advantage of him. It was his own fault that caused this outcome. Right, Uncle Zhang, why did you think of going to the Nanqing casino? Yang Ming had been thinking about this problem before. This Nanqing casino was obviously in cahoots with the boss behind class. It was premeditated and not a sudden idea. In other words, why did Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang choose to go to the Nanqing casino? There were many casinos in Las Vegas. There was even a small casino in the Douglas Vast Hotel itself. This is the organizer of the International Jewelry Association. They gave each member a chip redemption coupon worth $5,000. So, Zhang Bin and I thought that it would be a waste not to play, so we went. Zhang Jifang explained with some embarrassment. International Jewelry Association. Yang Ming was stunned for a moment. Then, he figured out the cause and effect of the whole thing all of a sudden. It was the International Jewelry Association again. Last time, at the International Jewelry Festival held in Songjiang, the behind-the-scenes boss bribed the people of the International Jewelry Association to tamper with the exhibition hall and set up a trap for the Mingyang Security Company to participate. This time, it was the International Jewelry Association again. In other words, this time, the $5,000 voucher was probably the behind-the-scenes boss idea. He sent these vouchers through some organizers of the International Jewelry Association. After all, $5,000 was not a small amount. Who wouldn't want to take advantage of it? So, Zhang Jifang went with Zhang Bin. Why, Yang Ming, do you know about this? Zhang Jifang saw Yang Ming thinking about it, so he asked. Last time, at the jewelry exhibition in Songjiang, they were the ones who caused trouble. I believe that Uncle Zhang knows about the incident last time, right? Said Yang Ming. Oh, of course, I know about the incident last time. The theft of valuable jewelry was also caused by them. Zhang Jifang also understood why Yang Ming said this. Chapter 1744. The people who are against me should have bribed some of the senior members of the Jewelry Association. That's why such a thing happened. I think that the $5,000 redemption coupon should be specifically targeted at you. Yang Ming said. The others just took advantage of it. Yeah. I was wondering why they gave me and Zhang Bin one redemption coupon each. The others only gave one. I thought that I got a big bargain at that time. Their staff also regarded Zhang Bin as an independent participant. Zhang Jifang sighed. It seems that it is really a big loss to be greedy for small gains. They gave you two. It seems that they really spared no effort. Yang Ming was speechless after listening. This Zhang Jifang's vigilance is really low. He didn't notice such an obvious flaw. This redemption coupon is worth $5,000. There must be a number. How can they just randomly give it out? However, Zhang Jifang couldn't have thought so much before. Zhang Jifang smiled a little embarrassedly. Next time, I won't participate in these meetings. I'll just make money in Songjiang honestly. Yeah, Uncle Zhang. Zhang Bin has the connections that I left behind. He can make money in Songjiang peacefully. He won't have to worry about food and drink for the rest of his life. Yang Ming said. As for the rest, don't think about it. Zhang Jifang nodded. He also felt that Yang Ming's tone was a bit strange. It seemed that Yang Ming wanted to leave here for a long journey. However, since Yang Ming didn't say it clearly, he wouldn't ask casually. Back at the Douglas Vast Hotel, Yang Ming let Golden Bull go back, but Golden Bull insisted on staying and accompanying Yang Ming. He said that Yang Ming could ask him to do anything at any time. In this case, Yang Ming didn't insist anymore and nodded in agreement. Yang Ming, the rooms in this hotel are very tight. Why don't we change to another hotel? Zhang Jifang didn't know that Yang Ming had already booked a room here. However, when they came to stay, the rooms here were really tight, so they had no choice but to stay in one suite. Otherwise, Zhang Jifang would have wanted to stay in 2 rooms. After all, although Wang Mei was Zhang Bin's girlfriend, she wasn't really his daughter-in-law. After all, Xiao Sisi was still there. It was awkward for Zhang Jifang to stay with her. No need. Let's just stay here. Yang Ming waved his hand and went straight to the hotel's front desk. Lane. Ah. The waiter knew Yang Ming. He knew Batterton's attitude toward Yang Ming yesterday. It was extremely respectful, so he quickly nodded and said, "Yes, I will give it to you now." The waiter didn't dare to offend Yang Ming. He gave the 3rd room card upstairs to Yang Ming. "Sir, this is the 3rd room card. And, you can tell Batterton." Yang Ming nodded and walked over to Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang with the room card. "Okay, it's done. Let's go upstairs." Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang didn't follow Yang Ming, so they didn't know what Yang Ming said to the waiter. However, they were surprised when they saw that the waiter gave Yang Ming a room card after Yang Ming went over and only said a few words. Could it be that Yang Ming also knows the people at the Douglas Vast Hotel? Yang Ming's social circle is wide enough. Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang both sighed in their hearts. A year ago, Yang Ming was still an ordinary high school graduate. A few of them went to Yunnan together. At that time, Yang Ming didn't have any special connections. In just 1 year, Yang Ming had developed to the point where he could call the wind and summon the rain abroad. Yang Ming, Zhang Bin, Zhang Jifang, and Golden Bull entered the elevator together. Yang Ming pressed the elevator button for the highest floor, while Zhang Jifang pressed the button for their previous room. They didn't know that Wang Mei had moved upstairs to live. "It's upstairs. Wang Mei has moved up. You can check out of the previous room when you have time." Yang Ming smiled and said, "So, we are all next to each other." "Ah. You have moved up." Zhang Jifang was even more surprised. Although he didn't know that the rooms upstairs were high-end presidential suites, and he had never been upstairs, he naturally thought that the rooms upstairs were ordinary rooms. Even so, he felt that Yang Ming was amazing enough. He didn't check out of the previous room, but he could connect them to a new room. Moreover, they were next to each other. What kind of relationship did Yang Ming have with the hotel's owner to be able to do this? Zhang Bing and Zhang Jifeng also understood that when a hotel said that it was full, it didn't mean that it was really full. It was just that there were some reserved rooms that weren't available for public use. These rooms were for those with connections, and Yang Ming actually got 3 rooms without any effort. After Yang Ming walked into the elevator, the waiter quickly called Batterton. Although he knew that the boss's attitude toward Yang Ming was different, he also took the initiative to give Yang Ming a room this time. He didn't know if the boss would be unhappy. So, the waiter called to apologize to the boss. Batterton was playing an office game with his secretary in the office. At a critical moment, the phone on the table rang. Batterton was shocked, and so was the secretary. "Who is it? It's so annoying to call at this time," the secretary complained. "Don't dawdle." Batterton didn't dare to neglect. Yesterday, he was scolded by the family master because he didn't pick up the phone. If it weren't for Yang Ming forgiving him, he would have almost died. He knew the Douglas family's rules. So, how could he dare to neglect today's call? Yang Ming was still staying here. His nerves were now highly tense. The secretary was scolded and felt a little wronged. She thought, "Don't you usually complain like this? What's wrong with you today?" However, she didn't have the mood to play with Batterton when she saw him. She could only sit aside with a pout. "Hello, I'm Batterton." Batterton's voice was extremely respectful. Even the secretary was surprised when she heard it. "Is this the boss?" "Mr. Batterton, I'm the waiter at the front desk on the first floor. I have something to report to you." The waiter said, "Mr. Batterton, Mr. Yang Ming brought a guest back and asked me for a VIP room card. I didn't ask for your permission in time, so I took the initiative to give him the 3rd room card. Mr. Batterton, if you are unhappy, please punish me." The waiter couldn't afford to offend Yang Ming, but he couldn't afford to offend Batterton either. So, he carefully asked for punishment. "Oh. What's the punishment?" "You did a good job. I want to give you a raise and promote you." Batterton was very satisfied when he heard the waiter's way of handling the matter. If the waiter had called to ask for his permission first and dawdled for a long time, Yang Ming would have become impatient and resentful. Then, he would be in trouble. So, he appreciated the waiter's prompt decision. Ah. The waiter didn't expect to gain a blessing in disguise. He was surprised. "Thank you, Mr. Batterton. And, you don't have to thank me. Remember, if Mr. Yang needs anything, try to satisfy him first. You don't have to report to me." Batterton said, "I think you should be the vice president of the hotel today. You are in charge of service quality. Gather all the waiters for a meeting in a while and pass on this instruction." "Ah. Yes." The waiter was shocked. "I became a vice president just like that. Isn't this promotion speed too fast?" After hanging up the phone, Batterton breathed a sigh of relief. This waiter still has some insight. Yesterday, he also saw through my attitude towards Yang Ming. Today, he decisively gave Yang Ming the room card. However, he was able to admit his mistake to me afterward. He is a talent. Such a person would be useful to the hotel if I promote him. Otherwise, Batterton wouldn't promote just anyone. Even if the waiter was satisfied with his work, he would at most reward him with some bonuses. Chapter 1745. Caw. The elevator door slowly opened. Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang were a little shocked and they saw the decoration of the corridor outside the elevator. This. Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang opened their mouths in surprise at the same time. The decoration of the top floor and the decorations of the lower floors were simply worlds apart. This place could be described as a magnificent palace. They didn't expect this hotel to have such a luxurious floor. The flashy lights, elegant design, noble furnishings, luxurious furniture. The aristocratic atmosphere permeated everywhere, just like a dream. Above the corridor was a large piece of plexiglass, which allowed them to see the scenery in the sky directly. At night, it would be even more beautiful to watch the starry sky from here. This kind of luxurious, godlike treatment shocked Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang. They had only seen the facilities of this level of hotel on the internet and TV. In fact, they had never experienced it at all. This kind of thing was too far away for them. By now, they could be sure that the relationship between Yang Ming and the hotel owner was not simple, and it was not simple at all. He could easily get 3 top-notch luxury suites. This was not something an ordinary person could do. Zhang Bin, you and Uncle Zhang are in room 2. Go back and rest first. I will be in room 1. If there is anything, call the internal line. Yang Ming also saw the shock of Zhang Bin and Zhang Jifang, but he didn't say much. Okay, bro. Zhang Bin nodded. He couldn't wait to see what the room looked like now. Yang Ming took out the room card and opened the door of the room. Zhang Bin was also knocking on the door of room 2. After a while, the door opened, and Wang Mei's excited scream came from inside. Yang Ming smiled slightly and didn't disturb them. He turned and entered the room, while Golden Bull entered room 3. After Smith waited for Yang Ming to leave, he didn't dare to neglect. After all, class died in the casino. He had to quickly report to the boss behind the scenes. The Nanching family did not only have the Nanching Casino in Las Vegas. It was just that the casino accounted for a relatively large proportion. The Nanching family was also involved in many industries such as the catering industry, real estate, and so on. Therefore, it was impossible for the person in charge of the Nanching family in Las Vegas to be in charge of the Nanching Casino at all times. In his opinion, with Smith as an insider and Class's strong foreign aid, wouldn't it be easy to deal with a foreigner? So, he wasn't worried at all. Govasik was sitting in a spacious and bright office, reading a proposal in his hand. With the support of the Nanching family, he was likely to be elected as a member of the Las Vegas City Council. Although he was already powerful enough in Las Vegas and was the behind-the-scenes leader of the Guillotine Gang, one of the 3 major underground gangs, who would complain about having more power in their hands. If Govasik could get this position as a member of the council, his power would expand further. Maybe he would be appreciated by the higher-ups in the family and be arranged to be in a higher position. It was even possible for him to be a family elder. The phone suddenly rang, and Govasik frowned. He had put all his efforts into winning over people in order to win the position of the council member in one fell swoop. Hello, this is Govasik. Govasik picked up the phone. Boss, it's Smith. Smith said carefully. Oh, Smith, how are things going on Class's side? Is it going well? Although Govasik was a little dissatisfied with Smith interrupting his train of thought, Class was someone who the family master had instructed him to cooperate seriously. So, Govasik naturally couldn't take it lightly. Although Govasik knew that Class was not weak, especially with strong reinforcements, he still had to at least show some concern. Boss, I just wanted to report this to you. Smith hesitated and said in a frustrated voice. Oh, are you satisfied with Class's side? Govasik's mind was not on this, so he naturally did not hear the frustration in Smith's words. He had never considered the possibility that Class would fail or even die. Not to mention the cooperation on Smith's side, the people that class had brought over were quite strong. A team of assassins and a special operations team. If these people couldn't handle it, it would be a fantasy story. Smith saw that the boss had not figured out the situation and couldn't help but sigh. However, he still had to report truthfully, "Boss, class is dead." "Oh, if he's dead, then he's dead." "What? Wait, what did you say?" "Class is dead." Govicek's eyes widened when he heard Smith's words. He asked in disbelief, "Smith, are you kidding me? How could class be dead?" "Boss. It's actually like this." Smith didn't hide it and told the story of class and Yang Ming's life bet from beginning to end. "You mean that Yang Ming killed class?" Govicek was a little puzzled. "Where are the people brought by class? Why didn't I see them make a move? Did these people all disappear?" "Yes. Boss, Yang Ming killed class." Smith said. Moreover, he also said something ruthless. He asked the Nanching family's family master to meet him at the Douglas Vast Hotel within 24 hours. Otherwise, he will bear the consequences. Humph. What a big tone. Govicek simply didn't take Yang Ming's words to heart. In his opinion, this Yang Ming was just confident that he was not weak. After killing class, his confidence swelled, and then he said something ruthless. Yes. Smith had already passed on the message anyway. As for what the boss decided, it was the boss' business. It had nothing to do with him. "I see. That's all for now." Govicek frowned and hung up the phone. Class is dead. This made Govicek very annoyed. Although this person did not belong to the Nanching family, the family master of the Nanching family personally greeted him and asked him to cooperate with him. Although the family master did not ask him to protect this person before, this person was now killed in his own territory. Naturally, he was still responsible for it. Damn, I'm finding trouble for myself at this critical moment. Now that Govicek was bent on running for counselor, he obviously couldn't do it without the support of the Nanching family. This incident happened so suddenly. If he didn't handle it well, the family master would definitely have a bad impression of him. He didn't know what was wrong with this class. He had so many subordinates, but he was still killed. He didn't know if he had a pig's brain. He had already known from Smith's narration that after class entered the casino, the two teams under class's command did not appear from beginning to end. In other words, class was killed before he had time to show his power. What a fool. He had so many subordinates, yet he still went to show off. Isn't there something wrong with him? Govicek was a little speechless about class's approach. He naturally didn't know that the reason why class's subordinates did not appear was that Yang Ming's subordinates had already controlled these people. He thought that class did not coordinate well and was careless in not bringing his subordinates, resulting in such a situation. However, regardless of whether class was a fool or not, since class had died in his territory, Govicek couldn't sit back and do nothing even though he had no responsibility. He had to give an explanation to the family. Yang Ming. Damn, this kid is finding trouble for me. I absolutely can't let him go. Govicek muttered Yang Ming's name. No matter what hatred he had with class, since he killed class in his territory, he couldn't let him leave here alive. The Douglas Vast Hotel. A sneer appeared at the corner of Govicek's mouth. Humph, this kid still dares to say where he lives. It seems that I have saved the effort of looking for him. In that case, let him wait for death in the hotel. Chapter 1746. Of course, Govicek would not act rashly before sending someone to the Douglas Vast Hotel. After all, the Douglas Vast Hotel belonged to another force, the Douglas family. Although it could not be compared to the Nanching family, it was still a big family after all. Before he went, he had to inform them. After all, he had to give face on some things. Thinking of this, Govesick picked up the phone and dialed Batterton's number. Hello. Hello, I'm Batterton. Batterton had become very polite when answering the phone these 2 days because Yang Ming was staying in the hotel. He was afraid that the family master or Yang Ming would call at the last minute. Mr. Batterton. I'm Govesick. Govesick said enthusiastically. Although the two people belonged to different families, they were both reputable figures in Las Vegas. Their relationship with each other was quite good. Hello, Mr. Govesick. Batterton did not expect Govesick to call him at this time. However, he suddenly remembered that Yang Ming had asked him to help collect information about the Nanching casino. Batterton's heart suddenly shuddered, and he became vigilant and careful with Govesick. This matter was related to Yang Ming, so he had to treat it cautiously. What's the matter? It's like this. Someone is causing trouble in our casino, but this person is staying at your Douglas Vast Hotel. If I bring someone to arrest him, I naturally have to inform you, said Govesick. Oh, I see. When Batterton heard Govesick's words, he thought that this was a trivial matter. The other party had greeted him just as a kind reminder. If they really wanted to arrest him, there was nothing he could do. Since Mr. Batterton has no objection, I will send someone over in a while. I hope you can instruct your subordinates to cooperate, said Govesick. I will treat you to golf some other day. This is not a problem, said Batterton. By the way, what is the name of the person you want to arrest? I can arrange it in advance. Oh, his name is Yang Ming. He is a foreigner, said Govesick. What? Yang Ming. Batterton was shocked. Batterton, what's wrong with you? Govesick heard that Batterton's voice was a little strange, but he couldn't see Batterton's expression, so he naturally didn't think too much about it. Nothing. I'll arrange it now. I'll call you when I'm done, said Batterton. Is that so? Then, should I bring someone there directly or wait for your call? Govesick was a little inexplicable. Wait for my call first. I have to confirm if the guest is in the hotel. Otherwise, wouldn't your trip be in vain? Batterton explained. Yes, you're right. Although Govesick felt that Batterton's words were a bit strange, it was reasonable, so Govesick did not suspect anything. He hung up the phone according to Batterton's instructions. After Batterton hung up Govesick's phone call, he broke out in a cold sweat. Fortunately, I was nosy enough to ask. Otherwise, it would be troublesome. This matter involves Yang Ming. I can't be careless. Although Batterton didn't know Yang Ming's specific background, his identity must be extraordinary since even the family master respected and valued him so much. Since Govesick wanted to make a move on Yang Ming, Batterton naturally wouldn't say much to him. He had to consult the family master first before making a decision. Therefore, Batterton perfunctorily delayed Govesick for a while. Batterton organized his words and dialed the family master, Kayik's phone. Hello, is this the family master? I'm Batterton. Kayik had given his private phone number to Batterton. Since this matter involved Yang Ming, Kayik told Batterton to inform him immediately if there was any news about Yang Ming. Oh, Batterton, what's the matter? At this moment, Kayik was discussing very important matters with several elders in the family. However, when he saw Batterton's number, he quickly made a gesture and picked up the phone. Several elders present were a little puzzled. Isn't Batterton just the person in charge of a family business in Las Vegas? Why does the family master value him so much? Why does he have to pick up the phone at this time? At the same time, several old guys were dissatisfied with Kayik's behavior of picking up the phone. Can you pick up the phone during a meeting just because you are the family master? Why do you ask us to turn off the phone? Isn't this too unfair? However, Kayik's next words made these old guys shut their mouths involuntarily. Family master, I have something important to report to you, said Batterton. It's about Mr. Yongming. Oh. Is it about Mr. Yongming? What's the matter? Tell me quickly. Asked Kayik quickly. It's like this. Previously, the owner of the Nanching casino, Govasik, called me and said that a guest staying in our hotel was causing trouble in their casino. They were coming to arrest him, so I greeted them and asked what the guest's name was. I remembered that Govasik told me that his name was Yongming, so I delayed the guest first and told Govasik that I would help him check if Mr. Yang was in the hotel. I asked him to wait for my reply, so I quickly reported to you. Said Batterton. Batterton, you did a good job. Kayik was shocked when he heard Batterton's words. This is a big matter. It involves Yongming, so I have to be cautious. Family master, what do you think we should do next? Asked Batterton carefully. What to do next? Kayik was in a dilemma for a while. In his opinion, with Yongming's strength, there was no need for him to be afraid of the Nanching family. Wasn't the Lancer family also one of the most prosperous families in Europe? In the end, they were finished in an instant. But the key was his attitude. Although Yongming didn't need his help, he still had to show some sincerity. Thinking of this, Kayik said, in this case, you immediately report this matter to Mr. Yongming truthfully. Then ask him what he wants and if he needs our help. If he needs your help, you have full authority to cooperate with him. You don't have to ask me anymore. Ah! Batterton was stunned. He was a little puzzled. Why is the family master sparing no effort on Yongming's matter? However, he said with some worry, Family master, Govasik's power is not weak. The Guillotine Gang, one of the 3 major underground gangs here, seems to be their people. You don't have to worry about this. Cooperate with Mr. Yang. No matter what happens in the end, the family will reward you. Kayik reassured Batterton. Okay, then I will report to Mr. Yang now. Batterton got Kayik's affirmative answer and calmed down. After hanging up the phone, Kayik shook his head with a hint of sarcasm in the corner of his mouth. This Nanching family is really in a hurry to die. You should be thankful that Yongming didn't trouble you. Now you want to take the initiative to trouble Yongming. AI. All the elders present understood the meaning of Kayik's call. It seemed that this Nanching family really didn't want to live anymore. Why did they have to provoke Yongming? Everyone present had a deep understanding of Yongming's power. After Batterton reported to Kayik, he quickly dialed the phone number in Yongming's room. He had already learned from the waiter that Yongming had returned to the hotel. Hello. Yongming picked up the internal phone call. At first, he thought it was Zhongbin or Golden Bull calling, but it was indeed Batterton's voice coming from the other side. Mr. Yang, am I bothering you? I have something important to report to you. Batterton unconsciously used the tone he usually used to report to the family master. In his opinion, since Kayik was so respectful to Yongming, shouldn't he respect Yongming even more? Oh, it's okay. Go ahead. Yongming didn't know what Batterton wanted to say to him at this time, so he was a little puzzled. It's like this, Mr. Yang. Just now, Govasik, the person in charge of the Nanching family's business in Las Vegas, called me. He said that you are causing trouble in their casino, so he wants to bring someone to deal with you. He wanted to give me a heads up in advance. Batterton repeated the contents of Govasik's call to Yongming. I have now stalled them. Mr. Yang, how do you think this matter should be dealt with? Do you need me to mobilize people over? You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.